Hello, Kenna.
What's up, Sasha?
Kenna Lee.
Um,
Your Chinese name is Li Kenama. Or is it?
no,
It's not your real Chinese name,
Kenna,
is it?
Kenna is it's kind of like my Ming from Kenna.
Oh.
Yeah,
But
from
Kenna is
Kenna.
your actual real name, right?
Yeah, Kenna. Kenna is my English name. My
Yeah.
Chinese name is Yi Jian, like 容易的易，坚强的坚.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. And
yeah,
you are from South Africa.
yes.
What city?
Well, half South African, half Taiwanese.
So
So
your father is Taiwanese?
my father's Taiwanese.
And
Yeah,
your
hence
mother
the
is
name Lee. My mother is well, South African, but
yeah.
it always feels weird to answer that question because I don't know, a lot of people think like, so if she's South African, she should be black, right? A lot of people think that, yeah. So anyway, she's a white South African descendant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
her ancestors came from her parents.
Well, I think it's my great grandparents that actually came down. I think it was that generation that came from Europe.
Yeah,
So I
but
know
you
my
don't know exactly
grandmother.
where, what country?
No, I know my grandmother's side is from France.
Oh.
My grandfather, they like Jewish people who came from Germany.
Oh, fled from the Nazis, I guess, huh?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
because it's interesting when I look at you, you don't really look Taiwanese at all, but you don't really look like European white either. You have a very interesting multicultural mix, ethnical.
It's hard to say. Yeah. I think I look like a little bit like my dad. I think like actually I have a picture of him. You want to see it?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I don't know. That's how he looks like.
Yeah, there's some resemblance. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I still don't look Asian, right? It's
No, not
very
really.
it's weird. I don't know what happened. Somehow I look like an Asian guy, but I look nothing like an
Yeah.
Asian person. Yeah.
So I talked to Young yesterday and to Giovanni as well. Giovanni grew up in Italy, of course, he's Italian, and he
Yeah.
told me he got bullied at school. And
Giovanni got bullied. Why?
yeah,
Like,
because he was very introverted and only into his music, and he wasn't very
uh,
social. And he was like an outcast. And Young also was bullied because he looked kind of Asian in
Asian?
Brazil. So I'm curious, did you have some of the same experiences growing up in
Yeah.
South Africa? Or you were
Well,
bullied as
of
well?
course, because I don't know. I think that's probably pretty obvious, right? Because I'm kind of
I
like
don't know.
a well. So there was a part where I grew up in. Everything was fine when I was born. Everything was cool. I was in South Africa with my parents, and then at like 6, when I was like 6, my father decided it's time for me to learn Chinese and get the roots down.
Uh-huh.
So he sent me to Taiwan, and so looking like a foreigner, of course, and then being in like 1900s Taiwan, 1990s, where there's like no foreigner. I was probably like the only foreigner.
Right. In 1990s, yeah, that was before
Yeah,
most of the foreigners came to Taiwan. Yeah.
yeah. So like a 1997, I think
Mm.
I was sent to Taiwan to start primary school. And I went to like a very local school, not like some American school or something like that. I just went to like a very local school in like Guanghua. So it's
Yeah.
like a very local area. Yeah, and I went to a school in the middle of the night market. So it's like, yeah, super Tao Di, right? It's got the roots down.
Did you speak any Chinese before arriving in Taiwan?
Not really. My father, well, when I was young, my father spoke Chinese to me. Well, he tried to speak Chinese to his children, and my mom spoke English, right? So we're kind of bilingual from the start. But Chinese is hard, man. I didn't know like or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, so when I came here, I had to literally relearn a language in primary school, right? Like grade 1. Yeah.
How do you
So
how do you listen to the teacher during class when you don't really understand what's going on? How do you do homework?
I think I think I was more focused on being out of place at that time than really thinking if I actually even understand the teacher. But I think in like grade 1, I think the child does fine in any subject besides the language part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think whatever they were teaching, like arts and maths and all, biology, that should just, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem at such a young age. Yeah, but it was the Chinese that I had a problem with. It wasn't, yeah, but more the appearance being an outsider. Yeah, I think I was fine academically in primary school. Yeah.
Oh, what was your favorite subject?
Maths,
Oh, really?
because I'm like just naturally kind of good at it.
Yeah.
I'm not like a mathematician or anything, but I just have a, yeah, but the older I get, the shittier it gets.
Yeah, same here. I was
Yeah.
really good at math in elementary school up to around the age of 11. I was really, really good. I
Yeah.
never really had to do any homework. I was super quick at calculating, quicker than everybody else in class. But then, and during grade 6, I think, I stopped doing homework. I stopped caring. And then my math got really terrible. So I didn't nourish my talent at all. I could have been a mathematician if I had really cared about math, but I was just way focused on video games instead later on.
Yeah.
So, but you say your father sent you to Taiwan. So he didn't move with you. You came alone?
No, I was like, from my immediate family, I was the only person who came to Taiwan.
How does that
Yeah.
work? You stepped on an airplane at the age of 6 and
Well, yeah, basically,
by
that's
yourself?
basically. Well, with my grandmother, my mom, my dad's mother, my parents basically they got a divorce, right, when I was like
Mm.
3 or something like that. So my sister went to boarding school, and I came to Taiwan. Yeah, I take it my father couldn't really look after 2 children by himself with
Mm.
his lifestyle and career. So the best option for him is to, yeah. And the Chinese people really, they don't have a problem sending their children to live with siblings. You know, it's like
Right.
part of the culture. And you跟阿嬷住, it's like
Yeah, yeah. That's
growing
really
up with your
unthinkable
grand.
in German culture. We never really live with our uncles or
Well, yeah, I think in most countries, there it's a weird thing, right? But in
right,
Taiwan, it's super normal to,
right.
if you have your uncle living in Taipei, well, go live with your uncle. Bye bye. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right. Did
Yeah.
you have a conversation with him before you came here, or did he just say, you just go, no argument, no nothing, just
Yeah. So I still thought when I actually came to Taiwan, I thought I was coming on a little holiday vacation kind of. I didn't know I was coming here to stay for 6 years, you
oh
know.
my God.
So yeah, and then my cousins brought me to school, like showing me the school I'm about to go to, and like, yeah, that's just a joke. I'm going back to South Africa soon. And then I met the teachers. I was like, nah, this is a joke. And then yeah, eventually we bought school clothes and I'm enrolled in school. I'm like, what the fuck? Shit, this is happening.
And that was before the internet. So how did you talk to your father? Did he call every now and then, or how did it work?
Yeah, well, yeah, we had the, you know, you call those long distance calls that are like
They're very
super
expensive.
expensive
Yeah,
with the
crazy.
delay on them. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
but so basically that was it. Yeah.
Were you
That was,
close to your grandmother before coming here?
well, I don't
Because
know
she
how
lived in
how close
Taiwan, right?
she lived in Taiwan, but she lived actually, you know, Chenggong Guozhai.
I don't really.
You actually looked at a house there the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like 大安区 by the 教育大学. It's around
Mm.
there. Right? So my grandmother stayed in that area, but my cousins, right, like my generation, my father's siblings' children, right. So like my generation, they all lived in Wanghua.
Yeah.
So I kind of had a choice. Do I want to live with my grandmother, or do I want to live in Wanghua with like some other family, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, I chose Wanghua because I had cousins there, which were they're all like the youngest cousins, like 4 years older than me. But you know, it's still,
Mm.
it was like, yeah, someone at least.
And you say you got bullied at school, in elementary
Well,
school, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah, because I was like a foreigner, right? So it's easier to just get picked on, to get like paiji, right? To always get excluded in events or something like that, or
Yeah.
hard to make
Dude,
friends.
that happened to me in university. I got excluded in university.
How did that happen in university?
Apparently, college kids in Taiwan can be very childish.
Oh, was it in Taiwan too?
In Taiwan, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. Is it like I don't know. It's just the thing that humans do, I suppose.
But did they call you names or what? Did they just exclude you? Were they shy or was it?
I don't
What
know.
do you think?
Actually, probably like thinking of trying to think of how children are thinking, and especially back then in Taiwan, it was probably very strange for them to see a foreigner. Probably, right?
Mm.
I know, like just around 10, 11 years ago, when I was in Taiwan, it's a foreigner would catch my attention, right? I'll be like, oh shit, there's another foreigner, kind of a, so even a foreigner would. So I suppose, well, yeah, for those children, I don't know if it's probably like an alien, right, to them, like a
Right.
foreigner sitting in their classroom,
Did
like
they
a.
touch your face, like squeeze your nose and
But
see
that
what your
was the
ears are
thing.
like?
I was like an angry kid,
Oh, you
I
were
was,
very, very angry.
yeah. So I was like the child who always fought back
Mm.
when. Yeah, but I was always, I wouldn't go around looking for trouble. It's just like when they did physically touch me, I would get physical
Right.
back with me. Yeah.
Was
Uh,
that throughout the whole elementary school or did it stop at some point?
well, then, yeah, it stopped at a point where it wasn't worth bullying me, because you wouldn't be able to bully me. It would actually end up just being a full-on fight.
Yeah.
And yeah, you wouldn't walk away like just beating a child up. So yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, then and then I also just made friends with the bad kids, right? Like
Oh,
the
you, oh.
outcasts. Yeah, so that because we kind of had a connection. I was an outcast, and then all the rest of the outcasts, they have family problems, and so yeah, a bunch of fucked up kids who are just like yeah, we just attracted each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you moved back to South Africa after a while, right?
Yeah. So my dad passed away, and so there was no real. Then my mom kind of reappeared in my life because my dad passed away, right? And I was like just finishing primary school at that time, so I was like 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, just finishing primary school, final year, and then my dad passes away. So then my mother comes into the picture. Uh, and yeah, so basically I was of course fed up with Taiwan, right? I was sick of being like a foreigner, a foreign looking person, and everywhere I go you would get like oh, need someone, how, and then all these questions, all these questions, right?
Yeah.
These repetitive questions, and then yeah, but as a child, it's, yeah, I think that bothered me a lot.
Yeah.
So when I had the option of like, you can go live in South Africa with your mom. All right, let's go. Let's go right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Yeah. But little did I know, going to South Africa would become a whole bullied outcast experience once again.
Yeah, it's very similar to what Young told me. Do you know Young's story?
No, I don't know this part, but
No,
I can imagine
he
it's all
was
very similar.
he was bullied in Brazil. Then he goes to the United States, and there he is kind of bullied again. You all get bullied throughout your whole youth. It's terrible. But you turned out to be really positive, handsome, successful men. So it's very interesting.
Dude, there's something
Bullies
about
turned into the cool guys later on, you know?
the mixed kids, bro. There's something about the mixed kids.
Yeah.
Most of them that I know of went through a terrible childhood,
Yeah.
and then all kind of came out on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. So do you think the
It's,
bullying, how did it shape you as a person?
well, it sent me down. So because I got bullied, but I had personality characteristics of fighting back, right? I was just as fucked up as the children bullying me.
Mhm.
So I would also fucking like to bully others. I don't know, it's like a frustration relief, or I don't know what happens when
Who did you bully?
children, well, just the people who bullied me.
Okay, yeah, it's just fighting back. It's not really bullying,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so but then I would release my anger or my sadness on them, right? I would literally lose my shit. And then anyway, so yeah, you even have like, you living in Taiwan, you know how they have this whole gangster thing. Even went to look for like brotherhoods and shit like that, you know.
Where in South Africa?
No, in Taiwan.
In Taiwan.
Like this, yeah. But in South Africa, it was the same thing. So yeah, I get bullied, but then I wasn't like big. I wasn't like a big kid or anything. I actually did hit puberty pretty late. So that was like another thing. And then of course, when I went to South Africa, I couldn't speak English, right? I was living in Taiwan my whole life. So I couldn't speak English. And now
So your English was at the level of a maybe 5 or 6 year old, right?
So this, I can answer your question of how did I cope in school. I couldn't cope in school.
Yeah.
My examination papers were completely blank for 3 years.
Damn.
3 years, because for 3 years, I didn't know like name, like when I received the paper, it said name, class, teacher, right? These are the 3 things you need to fill in. And I didn't know what the fuck it was. I literally couldn't even read name. I couldn't read it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You didn't have any English class in Taiwan, right?
Well, they kind of teach you how to speak, right? It's kind of like in primary school. I don't know. It's probably much better now.
Yeah.
But in primary school back then, it was you had like a elementary school. So the English I had from 6 years old kept my English marks at like an A throughout my entire childhood. And it was like degrading, right, while living in Taiwan.
Right.
But that basic English of a 6-year-old kept my English at like 80 to 90%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So at that time, the English was almost non-existent. But yeah, when I went back, I couldn't fill in my name. So then I became like the stupid kid, right? The kid that can't even read.
Yeah.
Right? That can't even speak. And I was shy to speak. I wasn't sure if I was very self-conscious, right? And then I was also fat. I was like super fat.
Why was that?
I don't know. I have a theory. When living in Taiwan, I was afraid to take a shit. I always felt like the toilet. I always felt like the toilets are super dirty in Taiwan, especially coming from South Africa, you know, where, you know, like a Western house toilet,
right?
You know, clean, it's 干湿分离 kind of a thing, right?
Yeah. So in Taiwan, a lot of the toilets are like kind of in the shower. So when you shower, the toilet gets completely wet.
Yeah.
It's not like in Western countries where the toilet is kind of cut off from the shower area.
There's a nice little carpet, you know,
right.
Sometimes on the Western side. It's so yeah, the toilet is just different. When in Taiwan, it's just a little square, and that's where you shower, you shit, you brush your teeth. It's all in that same little square.
So you didn't like to go to the bathroom in Taiwan.
I thought it was dirty.
But how did that make you fat, though? That doesn't really make sense. What is that?
I never really took shits, right? I was always afraid of taking a shit.
You think you got fat because you never took shits?
No. And then I was always constantly eating, like almost every single day. My dinner would be like, you know, the KFC 劲辣鸡腿堡. That would basically be like 70%.
A KFC fried chicken burger.
No. The McDonald's fried chicken burger.
McDonald's fried chicken burger. Okay.
Yeah, the spicy fried chicken.
You had that every day. Basically.
Around like 70% of my dinner was that meal. Yeah. And then like, you know, like fried dumplings, jianjiao, and maybe chao oolong. I mean, I lived in a night market, so yeah, that's what I ate every single day.
Did you buy it yourself, or did your grandmother take you? Who bought it for you?
No, so my aunt, she would sometimes leave money on a table, or she would because she also worked in the night market. So our time schedules are opposite, right? She would literally wake up in the afternoons and then go prep the food that they sell in the night market, and then go sell it until midnight, and then go to sleep, when I wake up to go to school, and so our schedules are upside down. We never really saw each other.
Wow.
So she would leave like 100 NT or 50 NT on the table,
Which
for
is
me
like
to
$3,
go eat.
$4, something like that, right?
Well, back then you could do a lot more with it.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah. So anyway, she would just leave like 100 NT, or if she forgot, she would just tell me to take it. You know, the little fanny packs that they carry. Yeah, just go take a little notes out. So
Yeah.
basically I just took money to, I kind of grew up without any parental guidance.
Mhm.
Yeah, because there was like, that was the situation. I was living in a house where the adults worked in a night market.
Yeah.
So our schedule was upside down, and they weren't my parents. So I was very free.
Did you
growing
grow
in
up in Taiwan with your cousins, or were you alone in the home as a kid?
Yeah, but you know the Taiwanese culture, when we in school, you go to the buxiban up, you finish school at 4 o'clock, which is crazy late. Anyways,
Yeah.
right? 4 o'clock, then you go to the buxiban, and they come home and like
Wushiban
10.
is a cram school. Sorry, I have to translate for a potential English listeners who don't speak Chinese. So there are cram schools in Taiwan where people learn certain subjects after hours, after normal school hours. They can learn English, Chinese, math, stuff like that. Anyway, so you also have to go to cram school.
Well, I never did well. I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated the fact where you always need to go to school. But yeah, so my cousins, they were busy with going to their after class. Sometimes it was curriculums. A lot of them, like they dance or whatever, right? They all had things. But Taiwanese children, a lot of them come back home at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's
right?
crazy.
Even
by 10, I would be in bed. I would be sleeping at 10.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I kind of just grew up by myself, like in like with like that. Yeah. So just as soon as school finished, I would sometimes have that 100 NT notes that I took from my aunt's purse. Sometimes if she forgot, I'll take a little more, you know? Yeah, but anyway, I wouldn't take like a crazy lot. Just like if it's 100, I'll take like 500 NT. Because today's a Wednesday and school finishes at 2 o'clock, and I'm going to go to Ximending and go rollerblading, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, just grew up in Taiwan. Like, just grew up kind of like, I don't know, like a naughty kid who just was all over the place.
Yeah. And then coming back to or going back to not Australia, South Africa. You say for 3 years you couldn't really hand in any proper exams because you couldn't write or
it was
read.
completely blank.
So what did you actually do? How did you pass any classes, any courses?
So if I didn't go to school in South Africa for, I don't know, a certain amount of years, they're not allowed to fail me for 5 years while I'm in school. So I basically had 5 years to catch up. Yeah, but I actually had 6 years of school, so I wouldn't have actually made it. Oh, I had 7 years of school left. Yeah. So anyway, there's like just like a law where if a foreign student comes to South Africa, there's 5 years where he cannot be failed in school. Yeah.
And then did you catch up later on? How did you do it?
Yeah, and I basically just so I remember kind of catching up in grade 9. But not really. I don't know if you can use this part, but this is how I figured out I was kind of catching up.
Well, by the way, I don't plan to edit this podcast, so unless you say something that's super illegal on here that I cannot post,
are you going to use the videos or just the sound?
Both. On YouTube, it's going to be video, and on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it's going to be just the sound. But I don't plan on editing it unless, of course, I have to take something out because it's illegal or I don't know, it's going to get us in some kind of trouble. But anyway.
All right. No, it's okay. Let me fix it a little. Anyway, so because my marks were almost non-existent, right, in school when I first went back, everything was like 0 except for maths. When there wasn't like there were like 3 examinations on maths. I forgot which 3, but there was one where there was more reading involved. But as long as there wasn't reading, I usually would get really good marks on the maths. And also thanks to Taiwan, my maths was like 4 years ahead of South Africa.
Really? So they are better in Asia at math, huh?
Much better. At that time, I think Taiwan was the first in the world. Their maths level.
Okay.
Yeah. When I finished high school, I showed my cousin my matriculation exam of maths, It's like this is like 国三, 国中. It's like a junior high.
Yeah.
Like the junior high final exam. But that was my high school final exam. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah. Anyway, thinking in grade 9. So like in grade 9, because my marks were bad, I obviously got put in the stupid class, and I was also the problematic child, right? I was getting in trouble, like bringing cigarettes to school or porn or some shit like that. Anyway, so I was always in that bad class, you know. There's that class that exists in school, which is a dick move. You shouldn't have that class.
Yeah.
But,
so the children who are in, or the young adults that are in that class, they know that they're kind of regarded as stupid. Okay.
That's obvious. Like you see this class there, and like all of them just in South Africa, that class would be white. Usually it's like just a whole bunch of white kids. There would be some black people or Indian or something. It's like but not a lot, right? Because in South Africa, the white children are privileged, over the black people, right? So their education, even starting from family, a lot of the black children, like my generation, their parents are uneducated.
Yeah.
So they're going to struggle in school, right? They their parents know nothing. They can't help them with homework or anything like that. Yeah. So it was very obvious where the class where there's majorities like black people, that's like the stupid class. And I was in that, man. I was in that class.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but that they only like that happens in high school. When you're in primary school, everything's chilled. In high school, I was put in that class, and then in grade 9, I finally didn't come last place in the exam. And that's when I knew, like, oh shit, I'm catching up.
Shit's going down. I'm gonna be number 1 soon.
Shit. I was getting like 30% as my average. Yeah. But then, so it took me from grade 6. But yeah, the years are a little bit different in South Africa. South Africa starts in the January, and then Taiwan starts in August, right? So there's like half a year. So I did an extra half a year of school. So it was like 7, 8, 9. It took me 3 years before I kind of caught up to the stupid class.
So after you caught up, was it easier for you to make friends? Do you make more friends in South Africa at some point, or was it the same thing?
Well, because in primary school, I was an outcast, I was bullied and all that. So in high school, I thought it was like a fresh start. I was like, I need to be myself again. I'm not the guy who's like sad at school. I hated going to school. I had no friends. I didn't know who to. School would just be terrible, miserable. I would just go and not talk to anyone for the entire day, and then go home.
It's very similar to my experience, with the only difference being that I had a twin brother. My twin brother and I are so close because we were basically each other's best friends, and we did everything together. But if I hadn't had him, I would have been completely alone and an outcast as well. So he's my biggest emotional support throughout my whole childhood or young adulthood in Taiwan, in Germany, sorry. So yeah, I cannot even imagine not having a twin brother and having to go through all of that
I had
on my own.
I had a sister, but we were never really. We went in the same school, and 4 years.
But you didn't go to to the same classes, right?
You're
not the same age.
In the same school. We're not even. So in high school, I decided like I cannot be bullied again, but my English level hasn't really caught up to being normal. So I still kind of got bullied. So high school was a little bit rough, but it got much better. But not really, because then again, you find yourself with the outcasts. The outcasts attract each other, and then you meet these friends who, at like the age of 16, we drinking, we smoking, we fucking calling drug dealers.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. And then we sneaking in. We're not even sneaking into clubs. We're getting fake IDs. I had like 2 bros back then, but we called each other bros. Barely talk now. But we used the same fucking ID to get into the same club on the same night by the same bouncer. So yeah.
Was the bouncer just dumb, or were you close with him?
Just like a 50 rand note inside, which is like probably like a 250 NT at that time.
Yeah.
Just put like a 250 note inside. He opens the ID, takes the notes, and he lets you in. Friend comes, gets his stamp, comes around, drops off the ID. I take it, put them, and then go in again.
Wow. Holy cow. Crazy.
2 tickets. Yeah, basically.
So, but you came back to South Africa after apartheid ended, right?
I
But
was born like when apartheid
oh, okay, so you
kind
didn't
of
really
ended.
grow
Yeah.
up. You grew up after the
No.
change. You didn't really notice any difference there.
Well, of course, I could feel the racism. Even if you go back to South Africa today, you can really feel the racism, especially with the older generation.
Mm-hmm.
And because of like poverty and wealth distribution, it's yeah. So there's like a mentality behind it where that just makes people. It's kind of like the middle class, upper class. How the upper class think it's the middle class and the poor that's the whole problem with the world. So yeah, you kind of have that, but then with race also in South Africa.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So yeah, you can still obviously feel it. And then my grandparents, they obviously have a completely different mindset to race over my mother and then over me, which is like, right. So yeah, you
Have
could
you ever talked to
definitely.
them about it in depth?
Oh, there's no need. I know how they feel. I can see it.
Really?
I know how they feel. And of course, they're not like disgusted that apartheid fell away and black people had equal rights. They're not like disgusted. They're not like that kind of racist people. But you can feel it just inside, and they would blame the crime rate, and the country not doing well, and the government based on this race, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
So
you could just feel it.
then, at what age did you come back to Taiwan?
When I think like 19, when I was like 19.
So
So I
shortly
finished
after
high
finishing high
school.
school, yeah.
Yeah, I finished high school and then I went to London for I was going to go for a gap year just to take a year off in London. So I went to London and then my Taiwanese grandmother got sick. Yeah. So then my cousin called me and he's like, yo, you got to come see Amma. Amma is saying she's dying and then she can't die unless she sees her grandson one last time. Because I haven't seen
Wow.
my grandmother for like 4 years, 5 years, right?
Yeah.
At that time. So then, yeah, I was like, okay, shit. I got to go to Taiwan and see my dying grandmother. And
Yeah.
then I came to Taiwan. My grandmother didn't die for like six or 8 years. Something like
Wow.
6 years.
So you did help her live 6 or 8 more years.
Well, yeah, and then I also got stuck in Taiwan. I couldn't leave. I got like because I have a Taiwanese ID, so I had to
Right.
serve the military.
Oh,
Yeah,
what do you well, hold on a second. So did you have two passports, also one from South
yeah,
Africa?
I have a dual citizenship. Yeah,
And but you were born in South Africa. When did you get the Taiwanese passport?
I don't know. I think I kind of always had it
Really?
from when I think yeah, my parents got that done because they were always flying, right? My
Yeah.
parents they like to fly and travel.
You
So
really get the short end of the stick. You had you had no emotional connection to Taiwan, really. You kind of hated the place. And
fucking
then you
hated
have
the
to
place.
serve in
And
the
then I had to,
military here,
and
fighting for a
then
country that you didn't even like back then, right?
exactly country that
That
I
is
kind of resented, and then
that is crazy.
so that whole thing, and I couldn't fly. I couldn't leave the country. I was stuck. I was restricted to leave Taiwan unless I served the military. So that sent me completely downwards. Yeah,
What
into like
happened?
it just got deep and dark. So after high school, I found myself like in the club scenes, right? I was always in the nightlife, the club scenes, right?
Mhm.
That's where I was. So yeah, when I found out I couldn't leave the country unless I served the military, I just yeah, it went pretty deep and dark, like just drinking all the time. And anyway, at that time, I also figured out there's a few ways that you can not go to the military, and one of them is if you're depressed. So I kind of felt depressed now, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go.
On purpose, huh? Depressed on
Well,
purpose.
I don't know. I guess I was always depressed, or I wouldn't even be in that scene,
Right,
right?
yeah,
Just
no. I'm
drinking
I'm
and
I'm half
always in the
joking.
club. So yeah, for like a whole year, there was a stage for 1 year I didn't see the sun. I was just at night all the time. Yeah, entire
On
year. I felt like
purpose,
shit.
or
No, no, not on purpose.
you
Like that
did
was
just
just my
didn't have the
lifestyle.
desire to go out during the
Yeah,
day
my
or wake
life.
up?
I would literally wake up in the sun setting in summer. Yeah,
Yeah.
in winter I would wake up and it would be dark.
Yeah. Oh, that is very
So
bad. Yeah, that gets
yeah,
even
for like
more
a whole,
depressed.
and I felt really shit. I felt
Yeah.
super shitty. So of course I was depressed at that time, but because of the military, I wasn't sure how depressed you need to be. So I just went all in this whole depressed train, you know?
Oh
Like,
my
fuck it, let's
God.
get depressed. Let's go.
Yeah.
Depression, here we go.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, no, I remember walking in to like my final test. They wanted to check if I was really depressed. I
Yeah.
walked in, slamming tables, throwing files, and kicking chairs around. And like, what's wrong? I was like, you guys want to put me in the military? Like, fuck you guys. But in all in Chinese. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
but all you can put me in. Let's see. Give me a gun. We have a little fun. Yeah.
Wow. You're not gonna do like a school shooting or something like that, right?
No, I would be in the military, but like I didn't know how crazy you had to be, so I just went all out, man. I just went all out.
But I mean, you
On
were
my
never
report,
at a point where you wanted to harm others because you were so upset
no,
with
I
life.
just wanted to kill myself. I just
Oh,
wanted to
wow.
really
So
just
you were
end my life.
suicidal.
Yeah, to a certain,
Damn.
yeah, pretty suicidal, but yeah, it was because living was like really hard. I would sometimes go to sleep and just wish I wouldn't wake up
Yeah.
after sleep. I wish I would just sleep into my death.
Yeah.
Then I
Yeah.
would wake up in a rage because I woke up.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah, it got pretty deep and dark.
For
And
how
then
long?
so that lasted for like a year.
Mm.
So because of the whole military, I had to go back and get checked. And because I only started seeing the doctor when I received the notice of military, so it took even longer.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I had to keep that up for like a whole year. And then eventually they gave me a letter saying you don't need to serve the military. They gave me my passport back. I was like, fuck it, I'm out of here. Let's go. And by this time my grandmother had passed away.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old were
So,
you at that point?
23.
Okay. Still pretty young.
23,
Yeah.
24,
23.
23, 24, somewhere
Yeah.
there. I was in my whole club scene at like 19 to 22, 23.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then so you didn't have to go to the military. You were 23, and what happened then?
I went to South Africa.
You went back again. Wow.
So I was, yeah, because I had to buy. So I thought I would go see my mom and then see my sister. Just go on a little vacation. I've been stuck in Taiwan for the past 3 years. They took my passport away for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And I had to sort out the whole military thing. Yeah, and so I was like, yeah, I'm going to South Africa, and then that's where the life changing stuff happened because I decided to go to South Africa. Yeah.
Can you go into that? I want to hear more about that. What that changed?
Basically, I went to Cape Town, and then South Africa is very big on like nature. Everyone likes to hike and trail running and that kind of stuff, right? Spiritual people, vegans. There's a lot of that, especially Cape Town. I would say it's pretty close to California, but even more natural nature. Like you could even say behind in California, right? Because of South Africa. So we were going up this mountain, hiking. It's called Lion's Head. So it looks like a lion's head. It's across Table Mountain. Yeah. So going up this mountain, this guy comes, he's a trail runner. So as we're going up, he literally goes up and down like 3 times while we going up. So he comes, he's running behind us and he's like, behind you, step to the right. And he goes on. I was like, geez, how's this guy running? Right? I've never seen a guy run on a hike, right? So he's running, then we keep hiking, then like around 30, 40 minutes later, he's like, behind you, is like, holy shit, is that the same guy?
Yeah.
Is that the same guy that went up and down and around? Then on the third time we met him, like I actually reached the top and he stopped on that time. And then anyway, I spoke to him. His name is Alistair. He holds a few world records for a few trail running spots around the world.
Wow.
So he's like a world-class athlete.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess he could see that something's not right with my energy, right? With them, the whole vibration, energy, all these things. So I don't know. He decided to talk to me, and I was fascinated with like, shit. How are you running around a mountain up and down nonstop? And then basically his story, he worked in the corporate world. He worked to like a high managing position, got a lot of money, but he was super depressed. He was like,
he was.
Depressed. Yeah, he was.
Oh,
like
I would have
depressed.
assumed he's super happy. Oh, interesting.
No, he was depressed.
Yeah.
Probably just as like how I felt. We were like these two depressed people thinking life is so shit.
Yeah.
And then he said, yeah, he just had this desire of freedom. He wanted to be free in the world and go to nature and just live in the wild, because living in the city has been too much for him. And that's what he wanted to do. He wasn't even sure if he was going crazy, but that's what he felt like he wanted to do. And then he just went and he did it. And then he started running. Yeah,
like Forrest Gump.
There's like this barefoot running. He saw people running bare feet and he's like, oh, what's that? And then he got in and then he started running bare feet. So he actually holds these like ultra marathons running like bare feet.
Wow.
His one record is 24 hours, 114 Ks.
Crazy.
That's his world record that he holds on a mountain.
Are you still in touch with him?
Yeah, kind of. Yes and no. Yeah. He's in Paris now. Oh, I don't know if he's in Paris, but he's in France. Got a baby, got a wife.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Still running, still crazy.
So basically that chance encounter changed your life in a way, right?
Yes. So he showed me, he kind of opened up the doors, and I don't know if you ever met my cousin George. He tried to do like the Wazoogle thing. We wanted to do this Wazoogle superfood thing. So anyway, George and Alistair, they're like friends. So he also influenced George and kind of showed him about superfoods and vegan. At that time, they were into the vegan. At that time, Alistair, he stopped being vegan, of course, being an athlete like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of vegans who are ultra marathon runners.
Right.
I can see it helping them out. But he just went off veganism. Yeah. Eventually. But yeah, so then they showed me spirituality and like a different way of being and thinking, and you can still be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So at that time, I thought happiness would come from success, money, woman or power, and nice house, nice car, business, flying business class.
External things, basically, not internally. Yeah.
That's what I thought life is and should be.
Yeah.
That's happiness. That's how you get happiness. But then they showed me happiness comes from within, kind of a vibe, right? It's the mindset thing and appreciation stuff. So yeah, they showed me a spiritual way of life, which no one in my family can show me. Yeah. No one in my family is able to show me this side of life, and this guy happened to show me that. And I've always been interested in the whole chakra thing. I watched a lot of manga, right? And then the whole chakra thing, and then you have Naruto making fucking airballs on his hand, and Goku shooting airballs and shit. So I thought, all right, I'm going to do some meditation, get my chakra, get my fucking airballs going, develop some superpowers. Yeah. So so that was my original thought of why I would do it. But then, I actually started feeling happy coming out of a depression stage. I was like, shit, I feel happy. I feel not fucked up for the first time in my life. I think for the first time in my life, except for when everything was perfect in my life, I've never really felt happy.
Were you still overweight at that point?
No, so I decided to lose weight when I was like 16. I started to get serious and just kind of started working out.
Yeah. So you made that change earlier.
Yeah, and my mom kind of forced me to go on a diet when she took me back from Taiwan. She's like, no, my child's too fat. It's got to go on a
Wow.
diet. So they
Okay.
just took away all the junk food from the
Yeah.
house. She would
Yeah.
leave some because she also likes junk food.
Yeah, but do you think the diet had a positive impact on your psyche somehow, or did it not really matter to you?
Well, probably more or less. Uh, but as a child, I would suppose the environments and what's actually happening and happened, it would be like 98%
Yeah.
diet, not really do much.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
Uh, yeah. So around like 16, I think I kind of wasn't fat. I wasn't like super ripped or anything.
Mm.
That came again a little later. Yeah, but I wasn't like fat, and I played rugby. So the coach actually forced us to go to gym and get like big and strong and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
he wanted to be the best high school team in South Africa.
Yeah.
That was his dream. So yeah, he forced us.
You
Yeah,
did it reluctantly. So by the time you met
yeah,
this Alistair runner, where you were already physically active, you were interested in being more fit, more healthy, or was that not
yeah.
on your
So
horizon at all before you met him?
when I met Alistair, what was interesting is I actually had stopped gymming. So
Mm.
when I was working in the nightclubs, like from 19 to 22, I was like a performer, right? Like a male, kind of a stripper performer, like a
Yeah.
Mongnan kind of thing. And so I had to be like super strong and
Right.
stuff. So yeah, we just went to the gym and hit weights. And at that time, it was like a big thing for the young guys to be strong,
Right.
right? There was this bunch of Australian guys that like just made it. You need to be like a bro. Oh, and at that time, Jersey Shore, I think Jersey Shore
Oh
from
yeah,
the
yeah,
US was a big thing. So all the guys had to get fucking ripped, right?
yeah. Right.
Right? You need to just hit the gym and get tanned. And then I was getting paid to hit the gym and get tanned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and having the time of my life, right? Like a young kid on stage in a club, like all ripped to shreds, everyone going crazy. Like that's a dream come true for this
Yeah.
kid. Yeah.
So you did enjoy that part. That wasn't really. You
Well,
didn't feel terrible doing that kind of work the whole
no,
time.
I didn't. But you see, it's like when people go to a club or they have these habits of maybe they smoke weed every single day or they drink alcohol every single day or they have to go to nightclubs and get fucked up and go crazy. It's usually like a something inside that's
They're
bothering
escaping
you.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of escaping something. You
Yeah.
diverting your concentration onto something
Right.
else. You don't want to face your feelings or
Right.
whatever. Yeah. So I kind of just went overboard, right? And that became my life, and yeah. So I thought I was happy,
Hmm.
and yeah, I was making like good money for that age, good money, and my job description was like that. I just need to get on stage, pour some alcohol in people's
Yeah.
mouths. I could drink it too, and everything was good.
Mm.
Go to the clubs. I didn't even need to pay for entrance. Yeah, just hooked in that high.
So were you still doing that when you met Alistair, or did you already
No,
stop?
so because so there was a stage where I had to go to the the doctors, right, to actually start getting checked up. I kind of thought I can't keep up my male stripper job. I thought it wouldn't really make sense. The doctor would say I'm happy, or maybe he goes on my Facebook and he sees a video of me shaking around and I'm like happy. I don't know. That's just what I thought. So I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, I have to quit that job. And I worked at an office job doing like translation, subtitle stuff. Yeah.
In
For
South
like
Africa.
6 months. No, in Taiwan.
In
I still
Taiwan.
couldn't
Okay.
leave the country. I couldn't leave the country. So yeah, for that
Oh,
six
okay.
months.
So yeah, I see. And
So
then
when I but
later left.
yeah. So yeah, I'm getting into the fitness thing now. So at that time, from the gym, I had like really bad neck pains and knee pains and lower back pains and elbow pains. So and like I said earlier, I was always obsessed with superpowers and superhuman stuff, right? So I thought like, fuck, how can I look like Goku and everything is fucked up in me? I went to a trampoline park. I looked like a potato bag. If you would throw a potato bag, like fuck, that's how I look like. And I was always like playing explosive sports, right?
Yeah.
So then I decided to, oh, there's a boxing bag. I decided to like box a little bit, and I was like, fuck, I just feel like shit, and my body's in pain. I'm
Yeah.
strong. I'm looking so strong. My body's in
Yeah.
pain.
It's not connected, right?
Yeah, I feel like a sumo wrestler trying to sprint. Like that's how,
Mhm.
you know, when you have a nightmare, you're running away from
Yeah.
zombies and you just can't speed up. Like that's how I felt in my own body.
Yeah.
So at that time, I got obsessed with calisthenics. I looked at gymnasts. I was like, these gymnasts look exactly like I do, but they can do shit.
Right, right. It's not just optics, it's actually functional.
Yeah, yeah. So then I went into the whole calisthenics stuff. And then when I met Alistair, using his body at a level where he can run 100 Ks, like, of course, he stops for about 2 hours in 24 hours, but he just goes. I was like, shit, our body can do that. That's a superpower right there.
Right, right.
So this guy just I saw him as like a hero. And then I related to him being depressed, living in a city, thinking money, woman, cars, houses is what you need to be successful as a man. But he was depressed even once he got it. And he decided to go all spiritual and vegan and not chase money and stuff. Yeah.
What were you doing as a job in South Africa at that time?
I wasn't living. I just came back to South Africa.
I was just a vacation.
Just a vacation, yeah.
What was your plan?
My plan?
Yeah.
So my father actually had a property in Taiwan. And but the other reason why I actually always came back to Taiwan when I was like 18, 19, was because my mom and my sister always, since I went back to South Africa, they were like, when you become of legal age, you need to go back to Taiwan and secure your father's house, or else your father's brothers, like my uncles or my aunts, they're going to take the house. They already tried to take the house from like that. When my father died, they took most of his, you could say, property and inheritance. But my father, he had a lot of cash stuff of the business he was doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, they kind of cleaned up most of his assets. Wow. And so my mom had this fear of them cleaning out this asset that is supposed to help my mom look after me and my sister, and to help me and my sister just do whatever when we become of legal age.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they always force me, like, there's a house in Taiwan, you need to look after it, or you need to sort it out, or else your uncles are going to take it from you. So yeah, I had to come back to Taiwan to sort that out. That was a very complicated situation, because like, yeah, it's very obvious that my father's siblings, they wanted that property, and they didn't want to give it to me and my sister.
Right.
And they would do anything they could to secure that property.
That was after the vacation in South Africa. After you met
No,
Alistair,
I went to the vacation because I could finally leave the country, because I
okay. So that the housing thing was during the time when he went to the military.
And going to that, and I always felt like bad and guilty and pressure, because my mom and my sister just want me to sell the house, and I never did it, because doing it at that time means chasing whoever's living in there, which will be my father's sister. I'm going to chase her out the house with her husband, and like say, get the fuck out of here, I'm selling this house. Like out of nowhere. They've been living there since my dad died.
Yeah.
Like, since my dad died, they've been living in that house rent free. Of course, trying to secure it for themselves. I don't know what the fuck. That's just all the stories that the adults told me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to go through that. And then my mom and my sister didn't really want to give a shit, saying they can't speak Chinese, they don't know the country, I need to do it. So like at the age of, yeah. So
it feels like you were shoved around throughout your childhood. You didn't have any of your own choice. You were just shoved around doing things that you had no idea you had to do or how to do them. And then so after the vacation in South Africa, when you met Alistair, it was the first time you could make your own choice in life, right? Basically.
Well, no, I still had to sell the house.
Oh, so that was still okay. That was still on the
Yeah,
to-do list.
I still had to sell the house, but I had to fix myself. I need to get myself on track. Like yeah, because of my mom and my sister forcing me to sell this house, made me be in like this big rage with my father dying when I'm 11. I was really angry with him for leaving because now because he died and the whole family's fighting because of his inheritance. Everyone's fighting to see who can inherit his shit. So nothing came to me and my sister or my mother, or most of it went to his brothers and sisters who managed to just scoop it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they stole all my father's inheritance and then blamed it on my mother. They said my mother took it. So my Taiwanese family and my grandmother like hated my mother. They thought that she ran away with another man by stealing and stole my father's inheritance and all that stuff. Yeah, that was pretty fucked up. One uncle took all my father's cash and his sports car and then took a prostitute from his strip club around the whole of South Africa, going to all the 5-star casinos and hotels and restaurants. Yeah,
Wow.
for 3 months. That's what he did in a
crazy.
SLK. He went around the country. Yeah.
So you're not in good terms with your relatives from their father's.
Okay. My father's siblings invite me to Chinese New Year for dinner. I haven't been 4 years. Wow. I can't go there. I can't look at them and like how the
you would have to play a role that you know is not genuine. Yeah.
My mom had to struggle putting us through school because these fucking guys decided to steal my father's cash.
Right.
They could have just given a little bit that would have put us through school without a lot of pressure, right? So, well, that's how my mother puts it. In a way, it makes sense because my father put my sister in boarding school. So that was like a private school in South Africa. So in South Africa, the education system is completely different with private and public. So my sister couldn't go to a public school. She would be far behind on work. My mother had to keep her in private school. Well, yeah, that was a big thing my mom kept complaining about. But yeah, I think that's another thing that fucked me up. My mom kept on complaining about money, that she's not doing well with
That's
money.
a very common theme in my upbringing, in my family. My parents always fought about money, and they got divorced when I was 8. So I know
that
exactly
doesn't help
what
a child. That's actually
very so much stress.
Yeah,
you don't have a sense of security every time. Like almost every week, I would be worried that we don't have enough money for food, or for her to pay rent, or
that's how my mom would put it.
Yeah,
that's how she would literally put it. She even said to me, that's also what drove me to England as soon as I graduated. She like even said to me, I have to buy your school books, your school bag, your school clothes, and pay your school fees. And I'm like, well, fuck. Yeah. Well, you shouldn't have fucking had me then.
Right.
Well, that's your responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. I remember in high school, everybody goes through driving lessons. Everybody gets a car. They can drive around. And I'm like, oh, Mom, when can I take driving lessons? She says, we don't have money. We didn't have a car. Everybody else I knew had a car. Like not the kids, but their parents. My parents didn't even have a car. So our whole family didn't have a car. And everybody else getting a driver's license, and I'm just like, all right, I guess I have to take my bicycle everywhere. Like,
well, we had a car. I couldn't get my license because you needed to get a driving instructor to teach you, and that costed money.
It's so expensive in Germany. Getting a license in Germany is around, I think, over $2,000.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
For what? For the lessons? Or?
You take the lessons. You have to take a certain number of lessons. Like imagine you could drive after 2 lessons. Even if you could, you're not allowed to take a test. You have to take a certain number of lessons first. And then
Africa's also like that.
The test itself, the practical test, costs money. And if you fail, and you fail easily, if you make one big mistake, you will have to take the test again, and that costs more money. So if you don't pass on the first test, you're going to end up spending more and more and more. It's pretty crazy.
Well, in South Africa, it's almost impossible to pass your driver's test first time.
Yeah.
They will fail you on purpose just to get a bribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in Germany. That's even worse. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, okay, but then what happened after your vacation to South Africa? What did you do next?
So I came back to Taiwan. this whole spiritual awakening, knowing that this is real and it's there. Because at that time, my hero Alistair, he's doing it. It's like superhuman. He's like, fuck, he's doing it. So I'm like, who's the person I know who knows that stuff? Oh, that's Banji, right? Benji.
Oh, you already knew him back then?
Yeah. So
how did you know him?
Benji. That's a long story.
So just real quick. So Benji is also a Taiwanese actor. He's also a mixed guy. He grew up in the United States, I think in Massachusetts, right? Maybe I think he's from Boston. I'm not sure.
Boston.
I think he's from Boston, right? So, but also now he lives in Taiwan. He's an actor in Taiwan. So you already knew him when you were like 22, 23 years old?
No, I knew him even way before then.
Oh, really? How?
He was one of the first people I met and became friends with when I came back to Taiwan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
From a club or?
No. So when I came back to Taiwan, I have a cousin, his employee's brother-in-law, my cousin's employee's brother-in-law is a Taiwanese director, and at that time wanted to film a movie which is based like with Holland history in Taiwan. So he needed like a Dutch guy to be a military guy running around firing shit, I think. So, but that was going to be like quite an important role and kind of actiony. So he wanted me to learn martial arts, but like filming martial arts, like special martial arts, not just martial arts, but like. So then he knew about Banjie, right? Because he's this kung fu guy. He's the kung fu guy.
Right.
Yeah. And so anyway, he sent me to Banjie to learn some kung fu, and then that's how I met him.
Wow.
Yeah. So at that time when I met Banjie, he was doing the floating, right? He's got this thing where you float on this water and you kind of just meditate in that space. It's supposed to replicate like a vibe of being in space where you're just floating.
Yeah.
Zero gravity. Yeah. So of course that was like mumbo jumbo at that time. But anyway, after meeting Alistair, coming back to town, I was like, who do I know who speaks that language? Benji's the guy.
Yeah.
So then I was like, yo, Benji, can you teach me some yoga and stuff like that? And then he saw me doing calisthenics. At that time, I was actually doing okay, but I was doing like street workout stuff, you know, like typical Hannibal Kin kind of, which is not the best stuff to do with calisthenics. That you still get injured and stuff
really?
Like that.
Oh.
Yeah, I had the same fucking neck pains doing that shit. Anyway, because he's super tight. So, so anyway, Banjie was interested in my calisthenics because he does the martial arts. He's like, sure, I will show you some yoga. At that time he said yoga. If you will show me some calisthenics in exchange. Okay, let's do it. And then he made me float. He basically made me go in his flotation tank. So that thing's equivalent to 1 hour in there is like equivalent to 10 hours of meditation. That's what all of them say. If you can float in there, it took me a long time to build up to actually be able to sit in that float in water for an hour, right? In complete darkness. It took me like 3 or 4 sessions before I could do it. But once I could do it, because like even meditating for 1 hour, it's not really easy.
Do you get anxious? Do you get bored, or what happens in the tank?
Frustrated. In the floating tank, you get neck pain. Your body starts cramping up. If you have to sit on a meditation, you will get cramp up also.
Yeah.
Right? So in that thing, but floating makes it a lot easier. But anyway, my neck and shoulders were just getting tired, and the water's sitting here the whole time. It's kind of bothering you. Yeah. So it took me like 4 sessions. Then before I could reach an hour, then he just made me float for 10 hours, like
10 hours straight.
No, not straight. Like over the time of like 2-3 weeks, he made me float just 10 hours. And then at that time, also telling me all this, you could say Buddhism, Indian Buddhism beliefs that he has, introducing me to God and life, ways of life, like, Buddhism way of life. Because I was very confused at that time. I was like, how would you live if you don't try to make money, right? And then how letting go of materialistic stuff and all these things, right? All the that the modern day guy believes is correct, right? Success, happiness, money, woman, nice girl, beautiful car, beautiful house, that typical stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was coming from that mindset. Then he was just trying to teach me on this whole spiritual stuff, how you can think and be and show gratitude and just be happy and live your way. And life is a journey of learning and experiencing, and stop caring. Actually, the main thing is a lot of people who are depressed, they care too much.
Yeah.
Overthinking. Yeah. Overthinking, and you care too much. So you need a little bit of that, like, fuck it. Just fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he basically made me meditate like 100 hours and kind of drop the spiritual knowledge as we went. Yeah. And then I became like I kind of left that whole depression state of living and being, and I haven't really, from like a chronic alcoholic, not alcohol. I was never addicted to alcohol. I just like to get fucked up.
Yeah.
But on a daily basis.
That's pretty close though.
Yeah.
Might not be the physical addiction, but it's a mental an emotional addiction.
If you gave me drugs, I would take the drugs. If you gave me like drugs from just like a mental thing that I had from the depression of going, fuck, the guy gave me 7 different tablets.
Yeah.
The one time I actually tried to take it all, it made me a zombie. I was dead the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just looking for ways to get fucked up.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went from that and then to now I don't drink alcohol like at all. Well, I still drink sometimes, but just more for fun. But yeah, I don't even enjoy going to clubs. The only reason I would go to a club is to go put myself in that place that I used to like so much, and now I don't go anymore.
Reminiscing of old times.
Yeah, to see what is going, because we have a friend called Martin who's very familiar with this team, and he's telling me about all this cool stuff that goes on, and I'm like, all right, let me see. I used to go to a club every day for 4 years. Let me see if it's different. And I would go.
It's still the same. It's the same thing. Right.
So, wasn't this the song I was taking my shirt off to 5 years ago?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But okay, how did you get into the TV entertainment business as a actor or host?
So remember the guy I said that made me learn Kung Fu from Banjie?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let me get some water. We'll come back to this.
Go ahead.
So where were we? Oh, the guy that sent me to learn Kung Fu from Banjie.
Yeah.
He was kind of the whole trigger behind it. So because he made me meet Banjie, and then after this whole thing I went through, me and Banjie, the movie never filmed eventually, obviously. Didn't film the movie, so I stopped training with Banjie, everything. And the translation that I did for military, I actually called up the same director. I was like, if you're interested in me, I would like to continue that journey that we had. He was like this big Christian guy also. He's like also very spiritual. So yeah, we went to this company and I was doing subtitles, but I was stuck with the military. So there's like a lot of things I couldn't do and can't do. So anyway, and then so he introduced me to Banjie. Later on, that company, we both went to the company, me and the director, we went to the company. That company went bankrupt. They had like the boss had 7 different companies of like investments and the insurance and all that stuff. One of them went bankrupt, so he needed to fund it. So he wasn't going to give salaries or something. Director said, okay, he's leaving. Do I want to leave? I was like, I don't have military. Yeah, let's go. Let's just leave. So I was like, I don't have a job. I'm not stuck. Let's go to South Africa. Yeah. So then coming back, remember I called Banjie to teach me this whole spiritual stuff. So I taught him calisthenics. And then at that time, I also cooked healthy, right? Because of being a vegan. So I was like trying to learn more about healthy eating and cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had the gym background, so I knew your basics about macros, right? But vegans go much deeper into different nutrients that have all kinds of benefits, right? For like blood regulation with sugar regulation with cinnamon and turmeric, anti-inflammatory. Vegans go deep into that.
Right.
So that fascinated me. So I also learned how to cook with spices, and so I showed after the workout, Panjay was hungry and I was hungry, so I cooked a meal. Then his agent, which is also happened to be my agent, he was on the side. It's like, this young kid's working out and he cooks. We could profit on this kid. It's like, yo, do you want to go on a show? Do you know Wu Zongxian? So he's got a show. You want to go? I was like, all right. As long as it's not Yi Chang, we will go. So then I was like, Fang Xin, we will not go to Z. That show is too low. We will not do that one. Don't worry. So we go to that show. And then the deal with him, so he also asked me, like, do you want to be like 出道, right? In Chinese, they say 出道, where you actually into the
do you want to become a professional TV entertainer? Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I was like, no, I do not. I do not want to do that. I don't want to sell my dignity and say stupid shit on TV and help brainwash population and make them stupid. That was me.
But me. What were you doing? How were you earning your money at that time?
I successfully sold my dad's house. Daddy had debts on, and I sold for super cheap just because like it's been bothering for like 15 years since my dad died. And my mom's been telling me to sell the house. Then I had problems with my aunt living in there, and then my mom and telling me to collect rent, and my sister's crying that she doesn't have a job, and then she got fired, and then she needs money and all kinds of crazy shit.
So I was like, you were solely relying on the money you made from the house.
Well, at that time. So anyway, we got a really bad deal. It was probably the cheapest house sold in Taipei in the past 30 years, honestly. Sold it like dirt cheap just to get out of it and just to fucking get rid of this problem that's been bothering me my whole life.
Yeah.
I thought I would be better, especially with a little bit of spiritual stuff at that time. I thought, biggest weight on me right now is this thing. Let's just get rid of it.
Yeah.
So got rid of it. I had probably like 2 million NT. I had like 2 million.
That's good. It's good enough for a couple of years. You can survive with that. Yeah.
I think I had like a total of 3 million after taxes and all that shit. I basically had like close to 3 million, but not 3, because I also had my own savings and all that shit. In London, I was working.
So 3 million would be roughly $100,000 US.
100,000 US. Yeah. I guess that's quite a bit of
money. That's pretty good. Yeah.
But so yeah, I was also very lucky at that time because I had that money, but I was all fucked up and everything. So I decided to just go full on spiritual for 3 years. Yeah. I went full on spiritual, meditating, finding the way, doing ayahuasca in mountains, finding shamans, and going very deep, going very serious, super happy, peaceful. At a stage, I thought I was Jesus. I'm like, am I Jesus' descendant? Am I here to change humanity? If I can feel like this, I can make everyone feel like this. Like, that's how deep I kind of got and felt. But then I was running out of money. The money was running out, right? So I was like, fuck, like
even Jesus needs money sometimes, right?
Yeah, I was like, this doesn't work. Going full on spiritual, I'm living like the books, like how The Secret and all these spiritual books, self-help kind of. I'm living 100%. I'm like the moral of the books.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing well. It's like shit's gonna. I'm also good at maths and I like maths. It's like fuck, around 2-3 years I'm done if I carry on like this. Yeah. So yeah, at that time I was just kind of teaching fitness because my calisthenics also progressed to a nice level. At the time I was teaching like circus performers, kind of in a way rehabilitation, a different way of moving.
That is pretty cool.
So it's basically the eat or pull out stuff, right? Remember I showed you that little opening up. So there's a lot of things that extend into that simple exercise. So I was just showing some circus performers of balancing themselves out instead of because this is hand balance guy and he's same thing. He looks really good. He's flexible and all, but he's fucked. He's got all kinds of pains.
Yeah.
So made him do some pull-ups and stuff like that, and then fixed, right?
Wow.
Balance him out. Yeah. So I was doing a bit of that. Then I was thinking of opening a studio, and then there was my agents putting me on these TV shows, getting me like 3,000 NT here and then. So that was kind of just keeping me afloat at that time. And I was living really cheap, right?
Very frugal.
Cost of living was like next to nothing. My rent was like 7,000 NT that time. Eating super cheap and basically, so carried that, and then going spiritual. Did that for like 3 years. And then eventually there came this time where I actually found a studio in Taiwan. Right, I was going to open a studio, but if I open the studio, that means like moving out of Taipei. I would not do the Yanishan and all that stuff. And then so I had the entertainment industry. So it was like a choice. So at that time, I thought I would do the fitness thing a little later, because the whole entertainment industry has always kind of came and gone passively. Like I never really looked for it, but it always came for me during my life. Like when I was 16, my aunt worked at GQ magazine, and then she had this photographer friend who thought he wanted to take pictures of me and make a model card, but he was like a really good photographer, and he just wanted to do it. So that was the first start. And then I had like a model card. Then when I went to London, I met an agent who also wanted me to be a model in London. But none of that actually ever took off. Until I came to Taiwan. I got like a first job being a model, where every foreigner can come to Taiwan and be a model.
That's true. Absolutely true.
So the whole thing, I didn't look for it, but like these guys came, oh, you should be a model. And then there was this guy's like, you should be an actor. And he went serious, sent me to Kung Fu classes and stuff. And then Amos, Benji's agent, my agent, then he came. I was like, so this has happened for like 5 times where this Yeni trend has come to me, and I did not want it. I don't want it. I thought I don't want to be part of brainwashing people. I thought having a friend who's famous is more than enough. I don't want to be famous myself. But then I was like, studio, I open a studio, I put the rest of my money in the studio, and that's what I do. Or I carry on with the Yeni trend, the entertainment thing. I chose the entertainment at that time. So
and you don't regret doing it. It was a good choice, right?
No, I don't regret doing it. Probably regret not doing both. You probably could have just done all. At that. But maybe not. So I actually just focused on being in the entertainment industry. At that time, I thought for 1 year, if I don't progress in a year where I can actually make money to live off, if my savings account goes down in a year's time, I quit. I'm going to,
It's pretty similar to the mindset that I have. I my first few years in the entertainment industry, I was still teaching on the side. I was still teaching German, or mostly German. And I was like, I really hope at some point I don't have to teach anymore, because I was so tired of teaching. And then, of course, it got to a point where I could make enough money, I wouldn't have to teach anymore. And now it's really about, can I make so much money that I never have to worry about ever having any other job that I don't need to do? You know, now it's like, can I get to a level where I can turn down offers? Because right now I'm still at a point where I have to accept most of the things that I'm offered, because I can't really be that picky. So I hope I can get to a point where I really can say no to most of the stuff I don't completely get on board with, you know, in terms of my value system and things I don't completely agree with. That would be like my next step from here. I guess you're in the same spot at the moment.
Well, I'm in the same spot. Well, I'm already choosing my cases, but it's not a good thing. Because I get offered really shitty stuff.
You shouldn't say that.
So let's just say like, no, let's just go. No, I talk to the agent like, no, let's But I do a lot of jobs. I do a lot of jobs for free. Well, really, when I first started. In the beginning.
I did a lot of stuff for exposure. It's always exposure.
This is after I became a host, even. Even after I
Really?
became a host, I was still doing some stuff for free, underpaid. Of course, I was getting stuff where I'm like overpaid. Then I'm
Right.
at the same time getting stuff where I'm completely underpaid.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but
How
yeah, still in the situation
how has your
where
life changed after becoming a host, having your own show? Have you noticed any difference in how people perceive you or how your lifestyle itself?
I don't. Well, lifestyle that has changed. Last year was a good run for me.
Even
Last
though
year
we had
was
COVID, because
yeah
Taiwan didn't really have a bad COVID
yeah
situation. So we were very lucky. Well, everything else was shut down throughout the world. Taiwan is really going as usual, and we
everything's
could make a
going
lot of money
fine.
last year because of that. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
and actually Taiwan was booming because a lot of money is stuck in the country or
Yeah,
came back to the country. So
yeah.
yeah, people are spending money. So I had a very good run. I was hosting and I did the short film for the MRT. So I
Oh
did
yeah,
two episodes a month for the MRT,
yeah.
and
MRT is the subway system in Taiwan, and they
yeah,
have monitors everywhere. Where they play commercials, short
I
skits,
was
and
all
everything.
over the place.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good.
So at that time I had like FNZ, and then I had the MRT, and
Yeah,
I had the hosting show,
yeah,
which the hosting gives me
yeah. You don't need to talk about the
so
exact.
my whole month.
Yeah,
Yeah. So my whole month is is
you're
like
covered.
packed.
Yeah, just
Covered. I'm
one
covered.
job really covers your whole monthly expense of
Exactly.
rent, food, everything. Yeah, it's good.
And I'm not really working 8 to 5 Monday to Friday. You know, I'm
Right,
kind
right,
of chilled and free. I have
right,
like 3 4 days free a week.
right.
Yeah, and
But then
I'm
the
making
question becomes, how long can you sustain that, or can you get even more? Because it's nice, but if you sit on your laurels like that and you're like, okay, I'm good. I don't have to work. I don't have to worry anymore. It's you cannot really sustain that for 10 years unless you're like some superstar. So
well,
what is
yeah,
your
man.
next step there?
If you get more famous and they start paying you more, yeah, absolutely you could do that. Absolutely. I know a few guys who are just super famous and get
Right.
paid super
But I
well.
mean, or you and I are not at at that level yet. So while we have that, or we had that success last year, I guess you're the same as me in that regard, that we think about, okay, what can I do next? Because even though we're busy, we already have to plan our next steps for when the current jobs are not, or get canceled, or they
Mhm.
just, you don't have that anymore, right?
Well, I guess that there's only really one proper goal to achieve, which is financial freedom,
Right.
right? That's the real goal. Like once you achieve that, then kind of fine. Everything is
So you went from wanting to make a lot of money, having a pretty girlfriend or wife and a big house, to being completely spiritual and not caring about money at all, and then realizing, oh, money actually is kind of important. I do
yeah,
need to make money, right?
yeah. Because also when I went spiritual, I found out later, poor. My mindset went very poor, right? Where I was blaming rich people for
Mm,
poverty and unfairness in the world. I blame
yeah.
the elite, right? I blamed and yes, they can absolutely be blamed for unfairness and the wealth distribution of the world. Um, but it's not rich people in general.
Right.
It's the elites, right? It
Yeah.
is the 1% that manipulate 85% of the world's money. It is
Mm,
them. Yeah, the people who run oil prices and gold prices and
yeah.
bank rates and all that stuff. Uh, I realized going all spiritual, my mindset kept me very poor, where
Yeah.
I resented rich people. I thought money would come to me if I just showed appreciation, or enough is enough. All I need is enough, and that's fine. But there comes a time where you can't work, and you don't need enough, but you need a shit ton, and slowly pick away from that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or a little bit keeps coming in, which will be the passive income.
Yeah.
But even when you're older, you still want a little bag where
Yeah.
you can hold, right?
Yeah, when you're young, you can get away with having basically no income because you don't have many expenses. But the older you get, the higher your expenses will be, because you might have a family, you get sick more, you cannot work as much, you get older, when you're
Lifestyle changes a little.
so I think a lot of young people nowadays, I don't know, like me growing up, I didn't have that kind of guidance. I never thought about having to make more and more money as I get older. That was never really on my
It was never
radar.
taught.
It was never
Well,
taught to me.
my mom always forced me to make money, because she said when she's older and she's an old lady, she's just gonna come live in my house. And once again, shit ton of pressure from the mother on the financial thing. Yeah. But even my mom would say, like, rich people are stingy, and he's an asshole, he's rich, something like that. Yeah. So then also when I went spiritual, a lot of things, seeing the world is unfair, and poor people shouldn't struggle, and all these things. My mindset drove me more poor. But then I also realized I needed to make money. And I was always kind of obsessed with money, really, like with not being super rich, but I think
being comfortable, not having to worry about money all the time.
But yes, I am obsessed. My financial goal is quite a big one, but it is, I don't know why. I do like money. I'm not even gonna lie. I do like money, but I don't like money because of the money, but because of what I can do once.
Because of the opportunities it can give you, like the freedom.
Opportunities or freedom, and what I can do once I have the freedom. Right? I could help out. I can go more spiritual. I can learn even more. Right. And so money, that I learned later. Once I learned that money and spirituality can be together, is when I started my proper journey. I think
so. It's really about balance in life, because a lot of people think if you do this, you cannot like this, or the other way around. Right? Yeah,
people
you have to combine it.
Either or.
Because money is a tool, is a means to do things. So I mean, you could do charity. You could use your money to maybe open schools, or build better housing for other people. That's something I thought about, because housing in Taiwan is so bad in many areas. It would be nice if some really rich people could build more affordable housing, because apparently the government doesn't really do it. So it would be nice if there were some really rich people who could
government really does upgrade, and it gets more expensive.
It would be really nice to have really powerful rich people there who build affordable housing, but that's also comfortable, not like a shithole like a lot of these places are in Taiwan. That's missing. So if I ever got super rich and I had more money than I ever needed, I would just take a bunch of that and try to see where can I build things that poor people can benefit from. And I believe in the sorry, my English is horrible right now. I believe that you shouldn't feed the poor people fish. You should teach them how to fish. So that's one thing I'm very, very strongly believe in. The problem is that a lot of people say, when you're rich, you should do a lot of charity. I'm like, what kind of charity do you want to do? I would like to do the kind of charity where I can actually work with people one-on-one, or even with groups of people, and really kind of guide them spiritually, but also in terms of like how to really materialistically improve their lives, to plan better, to learn better, to make more money, to help themselves. Because like you said, when you're spiritual, you think you're attracting all the good things in the universe, but just thinking about them. But that's not really how the universe works. You really have to go out there and do things, right?
They also tell you not to be materialistic and don't have desires, grandeurs, whatever. So but
it's human nature, though. You cannot really get away from that.
You need it. And I also think so this is going very spiritual. Every soul is here to have their own experience and journey through this container that helps us do shit. So everyone is here to experience and live something different. So by all means, you have whatever mindset you want.
Right.
But but also on top of that, I think being materialistic or having motivations or objectives, dreams, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think spirituality does not allow that. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's
right. Even
you should
Jesus
really
had a
combine
big-ass
these
tree.
things. It's like it's a
Yeah.
yin and yang thing, and it's a balance.
Yeah.
It's like everything in moderation, even the good things in moderation. I mean, sunlight is very healthy. If you are in the sun 24/7 and you don't take care of yourself, you're gonna get a freaking sunburn. And if
Yeah.
you have too much water, you're also gonna die, right?
Water
So, and
poisoning.
if you have, you should like I do intermittent fasting, and fasting is very healthy. But if you fast for too long, you're gonna die, right? So, same like you have to feed your body with food that you can buy with money. So money comes into the like we want to be in a situation where we're comfortable, because when we're more comfortable, we also have more energy and focus to help other people. That's at least my like right now in my current situation. I'm a lot more generous than I used to be. When I was very, very poor and really afraid of my own maintenance, not being able to pay rent or food or something, I was very selfish at that time.
Yeah.
Very,
It's
very
hard to
selfish.
give. Yeah.
And now
Exactly.
I'm a lot less selfish, because I feel like, at least in my current situation, I'm not constantly afraid of about my own survival. I'm not concerned with that. I'm really more concerned about how can I make the world a better place. So I think what we should really strive for is helping ourselves first, and once we do that, then we can think about the next step of helping other people. So what is your plan now to kind of help you achieve that goal, other than being a show host? Are you doing anything actively to improve your wealth and make the world a better
Okay, so
place?
there's like a formula for financial freedom, right? There's a formula, and it's very simple actually. Financial freedom will mean where your passive income is more than your cost of living,
Yeah.
right? So the money you get passively can cover your cost of living. You are financially free, which, if you think of it, it's not really too hard. If you take Taiwan, for example, 30,000 a month, 30,000 NT. So like $1,200 a month. How hard is that to
It's
get,
not
honestly?
that much money, right? If you
It's gonna
invest
take some time to
cleverly,
build it up. Yeah,
right.
but so yeah, you just got to find some tools to help you generate this income passively, right?
Yeah.
The only good one I know of now is well, two really, a business which is stable but unstable unless it gets massive.
Yeah.
Or property. If you could rent out like two apartments in Taiwan, you would be financially free.
The problem with renting out apartments, you need to own them first, right? I mean, there are situations where people rent them out again to other people for more money. I don't think that's strictly speaking legal, but I know some people do that.
I think you could do that if you have a contract with your landlord. Yeah, that's.
But the problem is
fine.
just buying housing in Taiwan is just the prices are insane. So for young people, that's not even really an option unless they're already rich, right?
Well, you see that's also a kind of a mindset thing. It's not impossible to buy a house in Taipei. So you need enough. I'm not financially free. I'm not rich or wealthy by any means. Okay, maybe I'm okay, depending on who's looking at me. Yeah,
right.
but so you need to up your arsenal, your knowledge. You need tools. You need to know what's going on. So to simplify that, this is just correcting your mindset of saying young people cannot do that in Taipei.
Yeah,
incorrect. People can do that in Taipei. You just need to know how to do it. What's the formula? What do you need? For example, in Taipei, if you get a house like mine, where it's like 3-bedroom, 2 living rooms and stuff like that, you basically
pretty big house.
It's a house where you're looking to rent for a small family, right? Your market comes down to a small family, but in Taipei there are so many universities. Therefore, there are so many university kids. Therefore, there are so many students. So if you would provide housing for these so many students, you would get it. You would you would have a market, right? And then, so looking for families to live in a house, they might even just want a smaller house, and it's going to be expensive. You would never pay it back. You would never get passive income if you would always just be paying off the house. But once you figured out your market, for example, the students, then you get the area where all these universities. So I go to maybe Da'anchu, right, or Gongguan area. and I get a house like this, exactly like this. So now you rent it to a family for 30,000, but now I build these rooms up, close it into a room, I change the landscape a little bit, I put some money into it and time, suddenly I can rent this house for like 50,000, right? Big difference. And then that would be the market of how you just need to up your knowledge.
Are you doing that? Are you in the process of doing that? Is that one of your plans?
I didn't do that yet because I'm not confident in taking such a massive deal, which is also just, it's a mindset then. I'm afraid of debt, and you shouldn't be afraid of debt. Debt is free money. That's free money. It's someone giving you money to go do shit. How nice is that? Take
but then you have the
I'm
pressure of having to pay it back, and you have interests and stuff, right? I mean,
so now it's a good thing. Right now, the interest rate in Taiwan almost next to nothing. It's like 1%. It's nothing. You can put it into.
I didn't even know about interest rates in Taiwan. I have done
the whole world is next to nothing.
Yeah. The weird thing about me is I know more about finances in the US than in Taiwan, because I watch a lot of, financial advisors or YouTubers or famous people from the US talk about money and investing. I have no idea about Taiwan, the Taiwanese market. I just know housing is super expensive here. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
But if you want to do that, you would have to take on a pretty heavy loan, right?
You would.
It's pretty scary.
But so you see in Taiwan, there's ways of loans that you could literally just pay back the interest, right? You on the first 3 months, you only pay back the interest 3 years. You pay back the interest, and later you would start to pay for the house. So you can first pay off the interest, and after that, it's just the house. The house pays for itself.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. But of course, the price you pay for a house is a lot. So that's a lot of people would. There's ways to do it, right? So your house goes up in value, you sell it, you pay it off, and now you have this cash. You can take out another loan, and then you can keep flipping.
Well, you have to do it once. If you do it once successfully, you can keep doing it very easily because, first of all, you know how it works, and you already have that money to work with. But doing it once is
not
really
to sell it. The only way to win in Monopoly is not to sell your little house, but to have more of them.
Right.
You can't sell your house.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You just need to. Then your house also goes up in value. Well, the loan that you took out for the house is originally smaller than what it's worth. So guess what? You can up your loan. You can go take more money out on the same house that you've already done this transaction with. Now there's free money even more. So you take that out, now you have like more money to just keep rolling and going. And these are like, I don't know how the rich people operate. And I'm still trying to figure out, but I realize it's knowledge. It's stuff that they don't teach us in schools. It's
not at all. No. Even in university. Look, I studied business management in university. I even went to grad school. My graduate degree was international business and strategy. I didn't learn about investing at all. We had no investment class. I don't know.
The closest thing is like accounting. They kind of teach you.
Yeah, that's different though. Accounting is like just numbers, but not really planning. You don't really plan an accounting class. It's
so school doesn't really do a good job. Setting us up to actually be successful, like financially free or less financially stressed.
Yeah, definitely.
I think once I said it like how I just said it, it makes sense, right? It's not that hard and it's far away. So I didn't buy a house in Taipei, but I bought one in Kaohsiung. But if I can, I would like to start renting it out because of
it's empty now.
It's empty. It hasn't even been built. So right now, if you go there, it's a parking lot.
Oh.
So they're going to build this building. So it's like Chinese called it 预售屋, like a pre-sale.
Yeah.
So I kind of bought a unit in the pre-sale, but see, like this deal, all I needed was 100,000 NT, and I get the house.
That's like $3,000, a little bit more than $3,000.
100,000 NT. I sign a contract. He says, okay. So on the contract, it states this house is coming to me. I'm paying 10,000 deposit for it, 100,000 deposit for it.
Wow.
And then later on, as it develops and as time goes on, I would have to pay a total of 10% of the total house. But
Yeah.
the house in Kaohsiung is like 4.5 million. So that's like almost a tenth of the price if I would move the same house to Taipei. It's
Yeah.
already the tenth of the price.
Yeah, that's pretty
And I
crazy.
could rent it out for a similar price to Taipei, like
Really?
15,000. You could rent it out for 15,000, a little 2-bedroom. Well, in Taipei, we rent it for like 20, 30, depends on the area.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so I'm paying for the tenth of the price, and I'm renting for like at least half, maybe half.
Yeah. See, my
Of the,
problem was always like I never considered buying a house in Taiwan because I always think of the market in Taipei and it's just too
Exactly.
expensive. But
if you go
I
to
never thought
Kaohsiung,
about buying somewhere else because I wouldn't be there to take care of it. So are you not
you don't
afraid
need
that?
it. Like, this is the best thing about Taiwan. It's such a safe place and so well developed. You're going to have like agents that are going to help you out. And even if I would do it myself, like, come on, my landlord never speaks to me unless I don't pay it, unless I don't give him the rent on time. Like,
Right.
today I'm giving him rent, but if I don't give it to him today, tomorrow he sends me a question mark.
Right.
And then if I send it, he doesn't even tell me he got the money.
Yeah.
He just disappears.
There's the bare minimum
So,
of communication.
yeah. And then if I do have problems in the house, my landlord, he has got skills. So he comes and fixes it himself, which I rarely use him. Or else he would call a pro. Like last time the AC doesn't work, just call someone and fixes the AC. I still don't see. Yeah. So I think I'm not really worried about that. If you were in South Africa, I would be worried. Like you would get people wrecking your house. You would get university students completely wrecking your house.
Yeah.
And then they would move out. Yeah.
So you wouldn't even consider buying a house in South Africa?
Not now. Not with the crime rates and how the economy is doing and how the country is developing. Not now. South Africa is in a junk status. So it's not a place to be investing in right now.
Yeah. So you see yourself staying in Taiwan for the foreseeable future?
For now, yeah. For now, probably. Yeah, I gotta. Well, let's see. I'm still riding the whole train of the entertainment thing, right? Still kind of riding it. So but I've ridden it to the wave where I need to now work, right? I can't just get away with being okay in Chinese, okay with talking and effects and all that. Now I want to continue. I need to be good.
You're taking on more responsibility. You're not just a guest on this show. You really have to draw an audience now.
And if I don't do a good job, well, fuck it. There's 1,000 other people waiting for this job.
Right.
Yeah.
So how far do you think ahead or plan ahead in your life currently?
So right now, I'm just trying to up my knowledge with this whole money thing. That's my current thing that I do basically every single day. I just try to get better at understanding money, economies and investments, right? And so invest, and then also like stocks, commodities, and cryptocurrencies. Yeah. That I just try to.
How did you get into that? Do you have like a mentor or a close friend who can teach you how to do stuff, or do you have to figure out everything on your own?
Basically, I have to figure out everything on my own.
Yeah. Isn't that kind of risky?
I don't know. Why is it risky?
Well, I mean, if you make a mistake, you could lose a lot of money, right? So basically, you're paying tuition fee every time you're making a bad trade or you buy the wrong asset.
How else do you do it? Like,
I mean, ideally, you would have a family member or a good friend who can tell you, "Hey, this is how you do it."
You get introduced. You get introduced to it, right? So the same guy who pulled me to the club scenes of Taiwan, Mr. Martin, pulled me into the crypto scene.
Yeah.
So with the whole crypto, it's the first time in my life I actually made an investment, a proper investment. Not some bullshit thing where I buy a laptop saying it's an investment.
Right.
Yeah. I actually made an investment, and that thing did well. And then I kind of got hooked on that excitement, right? And then as I read and go along with this thing, the way you really make money and how you can really get rich is when you're making money when you sleep,
Yeah.
right? That's how you can really get rich.
Mm.
And the only way to do that is to make money work for you. Like use
Right.
money to make money, and not just physical time and strength and energy
Yeah.
to make money. Of course, you can do that, accumulate, and then go put that to work, roll a little snowball up.
Mm.
Yeah. So using money to make money, that's the main thing.
Right.
That's how you do it. Of
Yeah.
course, you can be so good at a job and just get paid millions. You
Right.
could do that. I know some guys doing that. That's a little harder.
Yeah.
I think to actually know how to handle your money, that's also kind of spiritual. The universe will give to you what you are ready to have.
Mm.
So it's like if I would get like $1 billion, but I can't handle it, I'll probably go broke. Maybe I get $1 billion and I just start blowing it everywhere, and I'll start buying random shit. I would just come back straight to where I am now,
Right.
where I'm comfortable being. Right. So that's also like a spiritual and a psychological thing. Like I'm not comfortable with all this money, so I make it into the amount that I am comfortable, right? And that could also go with energy, vibrations, where the universe only gives you what you are ready to have, or what you truly desire and want, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm uncomfortable with trillions, so I don't want it.
Right.
This can also lead to like poor people winning the lottery and then going broke in a couple of months.
Right.
They weren't comfortable
Definitely.
with that lottery money. They just went back to broke and like, oh, this is where I know this place, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be there. Yeah.
Do you think you understand yourself very well now at this point in your life? Do you know what your desires are, what your fears are? Do you have yourself in control? Do you are in tune with yourself?
I do not have myself in control, but I know I'm much better now at taking myself out from where I am now, instead of being stuck in this conscious space. I'm much able to take a step back and be a third person examining myself. Like, why did I say that? Why am I saying that? Like fuck, I'm just looking for attention. Is that what I was doing? Is basic reactions, or if someone says something that I'm doing wrong or I could be doing better, I get this offendedness, and then I reply aggressively, like it's got nothing to do with you anyway. And then I can actually keep myself in check. But sometimes I still react. I'm not at the point where I can check myself before I react. I react, and immediately I'm like,
but you reflect. You have the self-reflection at least, right?
Yeah, I'm able to reflect on super short periods of time. That's as much as I can do.
Yeah.
But I still can't. Like if I have these trades on leverage and I get wrecked, it takes a long. I can't deal with it immediately. Yes, I know all the sentences to tell myself. You got to learn. Like if you want to, it's not about how hard you can get hit, but about getting hits and getting back up. It's like you got to learn through mistakes, and everything happens. I can tell myself all these things, but actually changing it how you feel, that's a different thing. So, I can't.
How do you feel about having a family in Taiwan? Is that something you would ever want to do, or are you not really? Because I feel like a lot of us from the foreigners in the Taiwanese entertainment industry, we're all in our 30s or even 40s and still not married or had no kids. So I feel like a lot of us seem to find it difficult to really settle down. I don't know exactly why that is.
Thing.
You think it's a financial thing? But some of us are in a very good financial position to really settle down. They just don't do it because it's probably not something they aspire to. But what about you? Is it the financial?
Well, because I haven't lived enough yet.
Yeah.
Right? I haven't lived enough life yet. That's the biggest thing for me. I haven't lived enough life because I don't have the money to fucking live it.
Yeah, I guess I'm in a similar situation. My life has been adventureful compared to maybe most of my German classmates or my own family in Germany. But compared to other foreigners in Taiwan, I feel like my life has been I feel like I was imprisoned for many years because I came to Taiwan as a 20-year-old and I studied until I was 29. I was very poor for 9 years, where I couldn't really I couldn't really adventure or venture out to explore enough or explore myself. Over the last few years, I think I've come to terms with who I am, and I'm living freely for the first time since maybe 2 years ago. So before that, I was never really free in my own skin and my own
How
body.
could you elaborate on that? What do you
Uh,
mean you're free now?
um, I had so many issues growing up. How in depth do you want me to go? I mean, I grew up with
Oh,
OCD,
that's
for
your
example.
podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I can talk about it a little bit. I grew up with OCD. My mom took me to a psychologist as a kid. I had a bunch of issues. My parents got divorced when I was 8. We were very poor growing up. I came to Taiwan, and that was not because my parents had a lot of money. They really had gave me all the money they had left after paying for rent and stuff. They couldn't save any money because they supported my dream of going to Taiwan, which I'm very grateful for. But
Mhm.
I felt a lot of pressure studying in Taiwan because of that, because it was my choice to come here, and I'm happy I made that choice. But at the same time, I felt pretty guilty because they really put my own desires over theirs for many years, supporting me here, because I could have studied for free in Germany, but I spent more money here in Taiwan because they wanted me to be happy. And I mean, I had some times where I was happy or where I wasn't happy, but I had a lot of emotional pressure because of the financial.
Psychological damage, right? There's like psychological
Yeah, it's just I
baggage
was
and
constantly worried about not being able to stay in Taiwan having to go back to Germany. You know, I was afraid I couldn't pay the rent, or couldn't pay the tuition, or like bad relationships with Taiwanese girlfriends, and my grandfather dying and I couldn't be there. I was in Taiwan, and then yeah, having very toxic relationships and being there were times when I was homeless and unemployed in Taiwan. I had to spend several months sleeping in a friend's living room, because I had no place to stay and I had no money. So I had to borrow money from one of my professors to pay my tuition. I've had a lot of rough experiences that I was partially responsible for. Partially, it was just not my own doing. It's just I'm a victim of the circumstance. But I don't want to blame other people for what I went through. So now I'm at a point where I feel like I'm more in control of where my destiny is headed. You know, I feel like I'm
how
not
did you reach
just.
this point? What
I
is
mean,
different?
I just got lucky, really, to be honest, because the TV show called me and they wanted foreigners to be part of the cast on the
So it's
daily TV show
the
or for TV
financial
show.
situation, right? You feel it's the financial
It was mostly financial,
security?
but health would be the other factor. So for many years, I had very bad health issues that weren't even apparent to most people, but they were very obvious to me because I mean, I had very bad allergies, and allergies don't sound too bad, but if you sneeze violently 100 times a day to the point where you cannot really
Yeah.
work anymore, we have migraines because of it, and um, you don't even want to go out the door. You don't want to talk to people. You cannot be on TV because your whole face is hurting, and yeah, I had to overcome that, and nobody could help. Everybody says, here, take this medicine, take that medicine, have you tried this? Nothing worked. So I really had to figure out how to solve it with a ketogenic diet. So that was really the final straw that helped me get rid of 20 years of built up inflammation, or bad situations. I solved the financial problems a little bit earlier because of the TV show, but I still had my health issues that I was never able to solve. And I'm like, I can't believe I still have pimples when I'm 35. I still have terrible allergies. I have um, psoriasis, skin, inflamed skin, scaly
Hmm.
skin here, and it's like terrible nose, sinus problems. And as an actor on TV, you cannot. You have to have good skin. You have to look healthy. It's very hard. I
Well,
would have.
you don't have to, but for
I
who
mean,
you
it's
are,
very
you
hard.
have to.
It's
You
very
have to.
hard
Sasha
to.
has to.
It's very hard to really compete when sometimes you would go for a role, they want you to take your shirt off, and you're afraid to do it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I was very like,
Unless you're competing for the ugly guy, the fat guy,
yeah, but
the
I
guy
see that's a
pimple.
problem because people I count as the handsome guy in Taiwan because
Yeah.
my facial features are considered handsome, but my health and my skin issues made me look very ugly. in my eyes. So that's how I felt. So I was very self-conscious for many years. It even impacted my relationships negatively, because I had many girlfriends that maybe they wanted to go to the beach, and I said I can't go. I cannot. I don't feel comfortable in my own
Why? Because
skin.
of pimples? Did you have
Yeah, I
pimple
mean,
on your
just my
butt? Or-
pimples, and I got sunburns extremely
Uh,
easily, and
you can't fix sunburn with ketogenic, can you?
no, but it's also you can tan. You're more like, now I could go to the park all the time to tan, and I
You
would
can
be
eat a
more.
shit ton of tomatoes that will help with the sun.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
It
I
actually,
would.
when I went to Thailand for Ido Portal's camp, the sun was crazy.
Yeah.
So I remembered this thing. So I chowed down on like a whole bunch of tomatoes. I didn't get burnt.
Really.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wasn't burnt. It actually works. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You
now
could try.
I'm tanning several times a week now, because I just really enjoy it. It just feels so, it's so cathartic to be able to take your shirt off and not be ashamed all the time, right? And so it took me 20 years to get to that point, because my skin was really bad from 15 to 35 for 20 years.
Mm.
And most people in my life or on TV don't even know about this. It's a very private, it was almost like a secret. Only my girlfriends knew about it. And that was such an emotional baggage that I was finally able to get rid of. And so now I feel like I can really live a free life, to where I'm not constantly questioning myself. And also I put down a lot of grudges that I held, not specifically for specific people, but just the whole world, kind of, for many years I always wanted to change other people. I feel like, no, why don't people do it like this? I cannot take this. Everything should be different. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, I'll just worry about myself. I just try to control what I can control. I lead by example. And if people don't take my advice, that's fine. Let them do whatever they do. I shouldn't get mad if a person doesn't take my advice. That's just stupid. I cannot force people to live the way I see fit. I see right. I see correct. That's correct. So now I still have my ideals that I hope I can impact the world positively. I hope I can show people, hey, maybe if you eat this way, it's healthier for you. Maybe if you exercise, it's good, blah, blah, blah. But I just put it out there, and whoever wants to receive it receives it. If they don't receive it, that's fine. I don't even care anymore. I do me, you do you, that's fine. So I'm in a very healthy space now, where I can really appreciate everybody who appreciates me, and the people who don't appreciate me, it's fine. I don't really worry about them. So that I think I got to that point around a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So now I'm really at a point where I just want to be able to maintain this, because I'm very happy right now. I don't want to worry about past issues anymore. I just want to maintain my current content, happy state, and work towards my other dreams that I haven't accomplished. Like I want to have a TV show. I mean, write my own scripts, have this podcast, spread positivity, connect with more people. And yeah, it feels nice to also have people around you that accept you. Because, for example, in university, I told you I was kind of an outcast, because first of all, I was 4 years older than my classmates. And as a 22-year-old German guy with 18-year-old Taiwanese classmates, it's almost like a generational gap, even though it's just 4 years. It's just the maturity level. I mean, I wasn't a very mature 22-year-old, but compared to 22-year-old Taiwanese, just especially as a foreigner living in a different country, my life experience is just so much more. And you really can't connect with these people. It takes so much effort. And also from their side, they're either too shy, or they have stereotypes, or they take offense to something I say because I'm very outspoken, and they get offended about. So it's just like, I didn't have a lot of Taiwanese friends. And now, because of the TV show, I have the other guys from the TV show I'm very close with. So if you have friends who appreciate you for who you are, then you just feel more comfortable in your own skin, right? So I'm in a very good place now.
I guess your previous mindset that you mentioned is also very important, where you reach the point that you don't care anymore. You don't care if other people will or will not take your advice, or even if you just mean good, right?
Yeah.
Like exercising and eating healthy is probably good for you,
Yeah.
right? But whether they take the advice or not, you just don't, it doesn't bother you anymore.
Right. Exactly.
I think that level is also like a level of confidence that you
absolutely
need to achieve, right? You need to be a certain level of confidence and stop giving a fuck what other people think. And I think once you can achieve this mindset, it opens up a lot of freedom for being a human.
Yeah, because when I was younger, I mean, I shared my views because I wanted people to accept my views, to accept me. Because if you don't accept my views, it's kind of like you're saying no to me, right? And then you don't want me, you don't want what I have, and I'm not worth much. And I try to seek value through other people's admiration or agreement. And now, because I have found value in myself through giving to other people without asking for something, I think that's a very healthy mindset that I hope that I can just share on this podcast. This podcast is called Wet Sand because Wet Sand. Yeah, it's because, so it's a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. And there's a line, you don't form in the wet sand, I do. So I don't know exactly what that line means, but to me, the meaning is that maybe when you walk through wet sand on the beach, you leave your footprints and they will be swept away by the water sooner or later, and you will be gone. But for at least some amount of time, you left your footprint there. Or even building a castle in the sand, sooner or later, it's going to be gone. But for some amount of time, you can build a piece of art. You enjoy the temporary creation, even if it's not, even if it's finite, and that we're all going to die someday. So it's really enjoying the time you have here. And that's what I'm doing. Cause I had so many fears growing up. Now I'm at a point in my life where I really want to enjoy the experience of living and not being afraid of living. Because I was very afraid. Also, the TV show I'm writing is about these themes: being afraid of living and getting comfortable in your own skin and exploring the world and making the wrong choices. That I think that should also not be discouraged, because you can always make the right choices. I think that's the problem a lot of people have, that they only want to make the right choices, but if you do that, you're not really making any choices. So,
well, I don't know what is the right choice. You never know.
Exactly. So you only know after the fact, and then even then, it's not black and white. It's a right choice could be right in the moment, and 5 years later, you might be like, "Oh, it wasn't the right choice," or maybe a choice was okay. It wasn't the perfect one, but it also wasn't the worst one. So, yeah, it's really overthinking it, and just follow your heart. I also noticed that my intuition is usually pretty accurate. So now I listen to my intuition a lot more than before. I always had my intuition, but many times I would be like, no, I overthought it, and I looked for other reasons to do to make a different choice against my intuition. But now
I think my intuition was always affected by what I thought others wanted me to choose.
Absolutely. Many times I would have the right idea, but somebody talked into my head, and I'm like, if I don't consider their opinion, it makes me a bad person. Okay, I should do what they say. But in my heart, I believed it wasn't right for me. Then I did that, and later on, I regretted that decision. And now I'm like, I should just follow my heart. If my heart is in the right place, if I don't do it for selfish reasons, if I do it for reasons that I believe to be noble, then I should follow my heart. That's my current state of mind.
It's like buying a pair of shoes, right? If we went to a shoe shop together and you liked a pair of shoes, and I was like, nah, I think these ones look better. And then you just chose the ones I like. Right. And
yes.
you might wear them once or twice, but every time you wear those shoes, you're like, fuck, I don't really like them.
I should have picked the other ones. Yeah. Regret.
Right? That's like what happens when you don't follow your intuition.
Right.
But sometimes the guy is right. So I'm like, fuck, he's right, that those are better. But anyway, you learn, and then you know, and then it's all about, I guess it's man, it's this confidence and believing in yourself, and just trust that you're on the right way. So I think what helps me a lot and keeps me balanced and checked, that I don't go crazy and lose myself, is the belief that we are all here just to learn and experience. Like every single soul that came here just came to live and go through time on earth to learn something, to experience something. And so there's a much bigger picture than to just being here right now, right? It's also, so in a way, just go out and enjoy life, as no matter how shitty it gets. I don't know, you could, for example, when I was working the other day on my show, my job, I can get work like a slave, and I'm not this big famous superstar, so I don't have assistants. My fucking agent doesn't even come to the job. The producers don't really care about me. They got too much stuff on their plate. The director's just bitching because I'm not giving him what he wants specifically. I'm in this terrible place. It's raining. My shoes are on the other side, like at the bottom of the mountain. And no one's thought to bring my shoes for me, right? All the other people, they got their shoes. My shoes are chilling outside in the rain. So I'm like, fuck, I have to go get my shoes. Who am I going to ask? I'm going to ask someone's assistant or this guy. No one's going to I need to get it myself. So you have this so-called host celebrity running down a fucking muddy slope just to get his shoes that's sitting in the rain. So at that time, I was tired. I just worked 30 hours. We still like working. It was coming close to night. We worked 15 hours the day before. Second day, we woke up at started filming 7. It was 9 o'clock at night. So it's been rough. It's long. We almost at the end. My fucking shoes are on the other side. And I'm so tired. I feel shitty. And I just thought, how did Kenna Lee live his life that he put himself in this position right here, right now? This fucking position right here. And that just kind of made me feel a little better. I just laughed and smiled, like, you dumbass, you walked yourself into this position. This was your choice.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We shouldn't blame other people, because no matter how shitty our position is, there's always something we can do about it.
And we kind of put ourselves there, consciously, subconsciously, whatever choices. Somehow we put ourselves there. We need to come to peace with wherever we are. Just keep going. Just keep going. If
you had a book about your life, what would be the title? That might be a tough question to answer, but I think it's a very interesting.
That's a hard one.
Maybe it's the first. Maybe it's a 2 or 3 version.
There hasn't been an end, right?
No, just up until this point.
Up until this point.
Yeah, you're gonna have it's a series of books. This is the first version.
I don't know, something like a lost child who kind of found his way, grew up in a way. Just a lost child who found light, who sees the light.
That's good. That sounds good.
Lost child who sees the light.
Nice.
He just sees the light, right? So that's it. I just see the light. I don't even know if what I'm doing is right. I got a shit ton of financial books behind me. I don't even know if that's the right choice, I don't even know reading, even if I do create financial freedom, I don't even know if these are the right things. But
you can only do what you believe in your heart to be a good option at the moment, a good choice.
Yeah, right? More or less.
That's all we can do.
Try to. So I think there are a few things where you cannot go wrong, and that is as you go, you learn more. You just keep learning, and as long as you exercise, you rest, and you eat well, I think you're on the right track. Your life should be fine. And then, pick up challenges and have dreams and goals, desires, objectives, and try to get them. I think, And I also feel, to a lot of people who say, money is not important, I don't need money, all that stuff, try to make money. Actually try to get rich and then say it's not important, because I feel like creating wealth to be rich is very hard. It's so hard. It takes so much discipline.
Yeah.
It takes so much. So with the discipline comes learning, keeping up to date, and actions, right? How you keep yourself in checks, your emotions. If you're emotional, if you're angry, you're not going to perform well.
And so also at the same time, still stay healthy, because a lot of people get rich, but they do it at the cost of their health. If you can do both at the same time, it's really where you're in a good place, right? Mentally and physically.
Yeah. So I think the challenge, picking up the challenge to actually get rich, wealthy, create financial freedom, that is the hardest challenge any human can choose to do. Well, of course, not if you're rich or whatever. Like for a normal average guy out there, me and you, that's one of the hardest tasks we can actually pick up. That's not just working. Like I said, it's all this discipline. There's a lot of spirituality that goes inside of it, and psychological understanding of yourself, and all these things, having confidence. Yeah, I think for an average person.
I don't know if I agree with that. I would put it more broadly. The biggest challenge is really overcoming your own demons. For us, it might be financial, because we grew up without any financial guidance, you know. But maybe for somebody who grows up in a family that's already wealthy, that can give them financial guidance and education, they find it very easy to make money. What they might...
that's what I mean. That's what I said by average, the average people.
Okay,
the middle class, the kind of, just for us to wake up.
Yeah, we want to break the cycle, because my cycle is a cycle of constantly, each generation, my family is worried about, how do I pay the bills? How do I feed my kids? I want to break the cycle. I want to have kids that are not, their first concern isn't, are we going to lose our home the next month or next year? I want them to worry about finding themselves, finding their purpose in life, and being good people, instead of having to worry about basic needs being met. That's what I want to establish for my kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, because I think also for a lot of middle class people to actually start becoming financially free, the discipline side plays a big role. Like once you make money, how do you hold on to it? How do you keep making money? Like sometimes you can just blow it. You can make money and like,
the thing is, do you make money because you got lucky, or is it actually one of your skills? Because if you're actually skilled, you can make money again, even if you lose it. But if people...
So I just feel, to be able for a middle class person and below to actually rise up and try to become financially free. You don't need to be super rich. I think that is one of the greatest challenges we could choose to pick up. Because for me, the main thing is the discipline, right? To actually go through life meaningfully. Like there's actually a meaning to trying to educate yourself or better yourself. But money might be a very shallow objective to have, but it's the best way I can put it. Of course, money is not the only objective.
you could define it. You could define it in terms of, I mean, not all people who got rich do that, but one way of getting rich is creating value for other people. If you create enough value for other people, you will get rich. So to me, that is my challenge currently, because I have made a little bit of money, but I'm not rich because I haven't created enough value for other people yet. So that's where my focus is on now. I want to make this podcast. I want to write my screenplays, because I hope through these things I can create enough value for other people that I will be financially more free through these means. But that's not why I do these things. That's just a side effect. I really do these things because I enjoy them. I don't do them just for the money. I never do things for the money. I could work in banking and make more money there, but I hate that kind of stuff. I really want to go with my heart. I just hope that the things that are fun, that are my passion, can also pay off financially. That's my goal, basically.
Yeah, I think just to have a little more meaning, right? A little something bigger in life. Like a little.
Do you have any role models other than this Alistair guy? Any famous ones?
Well, I have a few role models. I kind of pick like a guru in each section of my life, right? So for my health, my fitness kind of a role model, that would be Ido Portal. Like I follow him for that way of life.
He's all about your using your body, like training movement.
You could say he does
being flexible, strong, functional.
He just believes in unlocking the possibilities. Not even unlocking, it's maintaining the possibilities of a human body.
Yeah.
Things that we've lost through generations or things that we've lost due to modern lifestyle.
Yeah, since childhood, many children can move very well, and when they get older, they just lose the ability. Yeah.
All the children can do squats, right? They can all do those perfect Asian squats, and when they grow up, they start to lose it, and they can all do splits, they can do back bends, they can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And not get hurt. Yeah.
So Ido Portal, in terms of health, fitness, who else?
Health, fitness. He's like my main guru on health and fitness. For, I guess, what else is there?
What about in terms of
financial management? I have I would say I have a lot of gurus until I find the one that I really believe in, but I just kind of follow someone like Robert Kiyosaki, and I don't really know their names right now. The T. Harvey Ika, so some YouTubers, right? But it's more, how do they handle losses? How do they handle bear markets? How do they handle profits? All these things. So they teach and guide me. I'll see them as my financial role models. Yeah.
What in terms of relationships or love? Because we haven't really touched that. Do you feel?
I don't think I have a good role model for relationships in my life.
Do you think you need one, or are you good without one?
I don't know. Relationship is a very complicated thing that I haven't really figured out. I don't mind having a lifelong partner. I also don't mind not having one. Yeah. Like, it would be nice to have a partner where, like a soulmate, right? The perfect other half.
Yeah.
That just matches, that just, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Love shit. I don't know if it even fucking exists. I guess love is something hard and you have to work on it. I don't know. Yeah, it would be nice to have a partner like that, or to have no partner. I'm okay with either way.
So you're not really afraid of being lonely at all?
No, not really. I think that also comes from my childhood.
Yeah.
I've really
you're used to it, huh?
I've always been alone to the point where I'm used to it and accepted it.
Yeah. I think acceptance is so important in many things in life, at least for the things we cannot change. If something is out of your control, like finding love, you can try, but it doesn't mean you will. It's not like, if you work hard enough, you can probably make money, but no matter how hard you work, it takes two to fall in love, right? So you can really work on better.
There's a lot of love in the world, right? A lot of kind of loves. There's like couple love, brotherhood love.
Yeah, it could be any. It doesn't have to be romantic love. It could be just between siblings or friends.
Yeah.
But I always felt like you seem like a loving person, though. You seem like you are very good around friends and very kind. You don't seem like a loner to me. So I don't. Yeah, I think you don't seem like somebody with a troubled childhood, at least. So in my mind, in my eyes, you've already overcome that. I don't know.
Yeah, I worked on it for a long time, man. For literally my whole life, I've always been living inside myself. I've always had this little voice of talking to myself, always been confused and always been lost, always questioning everything. Yeah. So yeah, and I do think I have overcome that dark side. I think I made myself, you could say, normal. I'm facing normal people problems and shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really don't know. Sometimes I think am I suppressing everything? Sometimes I doubt myself. I think, am I just suppressing everything? And one day it's going to come out and just wreck me completely. There are people who, when I was studying a little bit of psychology and saw a psychologist, they're always saying for a lot of men at the age of 30, when they 30 and somewhere in that range, right? 30 to the high 30s, even the high 20, late 20s to the mid 30s. So this age of a male, if they have these psychological issues and traumas or whatever, and they haven't dealt with it, they've just ignored it and lived life. Usually at this age is when they kind of break, collapse. Some people go crazy, some people go psychotic, they go completely depressed, suicidal. There's a lot of people break on that level. Could be, I don't know, social pressure and all these things also. But yeah, so I'm at that late 20, mid 30 age. So I don't know. Sometimes I do doubt myself, thinking, could I crack and break? Is it have I not really dealt with it correctly?
I don't think so. But just looking at you, I mean, I've looked at a lot of troubled people, and the ones that haven't dealt with stuff, I think it's pretty obvious that they haven't, because they don't even want to.
We also haven't been drinking. If we do go drinking, and I get to the stage where in Chinese they call 喝开了.
Yeah.
When I get to that stage,
you lose all your inhibitions when you're tipsy enough or drunk enough.
You get to see something else in me.
Really? So even now, when you get drunk, you would
even now, but now it's a little more happier. Now it's a little happier. Before would be like suppress the depression.
Yeah.
Use alcohol and drown the sorrows. That's what it would be before.
But I mean, when you get drunk now, would these demons come out of you all of a sudden, and you would be like depressed or violent or something, or what would happen?
I think violent. There's a big chance of violence, but I used to have like anger issues. Yeah, anger management issues. So that was a big thing for me to keep in control. I always thought I would end up in jail. I was very afraid of ending up in jail because of my anger.
Yeah.
So I had to suppress that. Sometimes now, I don't know. Like, yeah, I do feel so chilled now. I've never really snapped or be short-tempered for many years. But it's because it's never happened.
I don't think you're suppressing it, because you're able to talk about it so easily. You're not really, you don't get emotional talking about it. So I think it's not really suppressed, because when you talk to people,
my hands are sweaty.
It might just be the heat. But I feel like, because I try to talk to a lot of people about their personal problems, their stories, and a lot of people who haven't dealt with them, it's very hard for them to open up, especially publicly. But it seems very easy. So I think you're managing very well. Yeah.
There's a stage where you completely break down.
Yeah.
These problems really just eat you up if you don't deal with them through a professional. You completely just break down. And once you build yourself up, I think you're fine. And I think I broke down. And then
that already exactly. That already happened. You've already stitched yourself back together. So you're not going to get back to that point where so I think something worse would have to happen for you to break again. But you're not going to break over the same stuff from the past again, is what I think.
I think also because my father passed away when I was 11, and my parents got divorced when I was like 3. So these traumatizing events also made me a little weird. The way I handle my emotions is a little weird. For example, when my grandfather died, when my aunt died, when my aunt's husband passed away, a lot of family members, I felt nothing. I felt absolutely nothing. Yeah, of course, a little bit of regret and guilt that all humans have. I could have spent more time with them. I should have called. I should have gone to the hospital. These are just normal human survival instincts. But I feel nothing. I'm very straight to tell myself what I just said. These are just normal human survival instincts. Yeah, I'm very like 理智.
Yeah.
I don't get emotional a lot.
Yeah. For me, I'm the same in many ways. It's what's weird sometimes. It's easier for me to get emotional over other people's stories than over my own. There's very little in my life that makes me tear up or makes me feel very sad or very happy. I usually get more.
Yeah, I have a similar thing where I could feel more guilt for someone else being in the problem that's not even as bad as mine. But I could be like, shit, man, why does this guy have to have this problem? Like, yeah, I do feel that.
Yeah.
For myself, yeah. I don't know, that could also just be different characteristics.
But I think it's more normal than we think. It's just that most people don't really openly talk about it because they're afraid of being seen as awkward or creepy or distant or whatever, you know. I just think
I think through psychology there are only like 5 personality traits. Long story short, it's like leaders and followers, smart and stupid, and then the in between.
Really?
Okay. Long story short. So you have leaders and followers. So you kind of get grasped at by humans who always question everything, and they want something else, like you and I, for example. And then followers who are just happier, they don't question anything. They just want just a peaceful, stable life. That's all they want.
Yeah.
There's really these two, followers and leaders, and then smarter and less smart. Yeah. And then people in between who are just very indecisive. They want this, but they don't, but they also want stable. So yeah, there's really 5 personality traits. According to one side, there's like 3 psychologists that we use in the world of psychology today. The one guy, there's only really 2 methods. So one method speaks about this 5 personality traits. And it makes perfect sense when I read it. Yeah. I think this is a personality thing. Yeah, I think you and I would have a closer personality trait.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's funny because I didn't plan this, but first I interviewed, or I had Giovanni on my podcast, then Wu Yang, and now you. And there are so many things we seem to have in common, all 4 of us.
Yeah.
That I didn't even know. But that I only found out through the podcast. It's just so interesting that 4 people from completely different backgrounds and that also seem to live very different lifestyles, or mostly different lifestyles, or have different values, and we have so much in common. It's very interesting. It's like my podcast has a theme already that I didn't even plan out. It just happened organically, and I'm really excited. I haven't aired any of these podcasts yet, so you're my 4th guest. And I'm really excited about these coming out because I think they're way better than I expected, because they're so inspirational. I think people can relate to you. Your fans are going to understand you better. And they're like, wow, these are real people. They're not just handsome foreigners, you know?
I think you should edit some less interesting stuff, maybe, just to keep the attention going.
You mean like do like a Joe Rogan clips?
Well, no, I mean, just, I don't know. Would you watch these 2 hours of guys just talking?
I mean, that's what Joe Rogan does. He doesn't edit his clips short.
That is true. I don't know.
You know, the thing is, I want to do a podcast that's really in depth, really real, really insightful. And if I do a lot of editing, I think it would take away from it. And also, it's just, to be honest, it's just too much work. I would just rather get everything. I don't want to make the decision what is valuable to people. Because what might be good for me, maybe somebody else listens to a sentence that I think is not really important. They think, wow, this really means a lot to me, you know? So, and I think actually most of what you talked about is really interesting. So I wouldn't, just having to edit it down to, let's say, an hour would be way too much work. I'd have to watch it 10 times to be like, do I keep this in? Do I not keep this in?
Yeah.
I would just edit out the stuff that I think is really terrible, really fucking boring, or if you go to the bathroom or something. But everything else I'll keep in. I think this is real. This is honest. This is genuine. Taiwan needs this because TV shows in Taiwan are too fake. People are brainwashed. That was the big thing.
In the beginning of the whole entertainment thing, I didn't want to go on these Taiwanese talk shows and give them this 综艺效果, you know, and act like a big retard. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I thought I was contributing to society being stupid
We're
and brainwashed.
contributing to the downfall
Propaganda.
of society. Yeah, we're just dumbing everything down. I don't like that.
That's what I thought. And then different, like a spiritual way of thinking is like people need to do whatever they need to do in order to survive.
Yes.
People are gonna watch TV regardless of me filming or not.
Right.
And people do know watching TV the whole day on a couch is not right.
Right.
People know that.
Yeah.
So it's not your fault that they do that.
Right.
You do you.
Yeah.
You need to
And
survive.
so
you need a job to do it.
I can still do TV shows, but then I can offer something else, maybe some more long form conversation that's more in depth. So they have the choice. I can do both. I can still support Sasha financially here on the TV show, but I can also maybe watch his podcast or other people's podcasts. Maybe I will mention some podcasts I listen to on here, or some celebrities I follow that I think have very good morals, that have good thoughts that they spread. Like two of my favorites are Kristen Bell and Terry Crews. They don't have podcasts, but there are two celebrities I really admire for their personality and what they've been through in life, and what kind of people they are. And some people are very cynical and say, yeah, celebrities, they're all fake. I don't care about it. No, I know from myself that not all celebrities are fake, because I know celebrities like you. Maybe we're not international superstars, but I think I have a pretty good idea of who fakes stuff and who's actually genuine. And based on my experience with other celebrities, I highly doubt that Kristen Bell and Terry Crews are fake people. I don't know if you know these two, but I
know them.
Yeah, they're two.
I also really like the American talk shows when I actually really enjoy watching it, because you really get to see a different side of the celebrities. Yeah. But in Taiwan, when the celebrities go on TV, you don't get to see a different side. You just get to see what the industry wants them to perform. Yeah. So I think in Taiwan, having like podcasts and live streams is hopefully we can bring this out.
I really hope I can get some Taiwanese superstars in this. It's very unlikely for now. Maybe if it picks up and a lot of people watch it, maybe some people like Wang Lihong, Tsai Yilin or so will someday say, hey, this Sasha guy actually does a good podcast. It could be fun. I would really like to show a different side.
They come and they be real. I'm so afraid they're going to come and then they're going to want you to have a script because their agent's going to get involved. And then the company doesn't want you to say this. And
it's possible. It's very possible.
Yeah. But like, look at Elon Musk on Joe Rogan. He smoked the joints and he couldn't even construct sentences.
But it's funny because a lot of people bashed him for that. But because of that, he gained such a big following that Tesla stock just took off like crazy.
Joe Rogan has such a powerful podcast.
Yeah. So I mean, if I can get to 1,000th of his status, I'd be like, pretty nice. I did a good job, you know. If I get
a bunch of people moved to Costa Rica because Peter Schiff went on and said Costa Rica is a tax-free state, and a whole bunch of people moved to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Such a powerful podcast. Yeah, that you would need a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, we'll see. So this is my 4th episode. I have a few more interesting guests in mind. I have one tomorrow that I'm really excited about. We'll see. I hope I can get most of the ones I want, and so far it's been really fun, really insightful.
Well, if you say Giovanni Wiang and I have stuff in common, maybe we could get on together and speak about this thing in common.
That would be good. Cool. Good too. That would be good. have a podcast. 4 of us or 5. 4 of us. Why not? Yeah, like we could do it. Zoom. With Zoom, you can do all kinds of stuff.
Guide us in this place that we have the common thing.
Yeah. I mean, bullying seems to be a common theme. Bullying and growing up as in a troubled childhood, but making it out, being a positive person. Because you, Yang, and Giovanni are very optimistic, positive people, and very warm. I feel you're all very warm people. And I see myself in the same category as you. And I wasn't really bullied, but I was kind of an outcast. So I can relate to a lot of what you guys have shared. I wasn't bullied because of my appearance or anything, but I felt very unwelcome at many times in my life. So yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
that is a form of bullying, right? I never got like poked around with a stick and throwing stones at and getting teased all day.
Yeah.
That must be so terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, being laughed at, excluded,
Right.
picked on, just something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
All right. Cool. Well, that was awesome. That was a 2.5-hour podcast. Very good.
That was a long one, man.
Yeah.
That was yeah. Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me on
Yeah.
the show.
Thanks for coming on. I'm really excited about this.